You are listening to the Lucha Central Podcast Network. And now, LuchaCentral.com presents Masks, Mats, and Mayhem.
I'll write it and we'll do it live. Fucking thing sucks.
Welcome to another edition of Masks, Mats, and Mayhem. I am your host, Justin Outlaw Harvey. You can find me on social media at JustinHarvey75. You can find the entire show on social media at MMMShow75. And that over there, I did it right, is at Byron Fever.
Catch it. I'm pointing at you. I know my left.
See,
right.
Last week I got used to doing the things above me, and now I'm like back to this thing, the whatever thing. And
I hope we could draw ratings without Meefloaf, and Casey. By the way,
Rosemary and Bunny are here though, so they're back this week because I'm in my. Hopefully, my new Wi-Fi extender works in this location because even though it's not as colorful and fun as the background where I have all of my models and figures that Conan and Disco would make fun of, and hats and collectibles. This is more comfortable. So F you guys. It's also easier to light this particular spot.
Do the green screen at this location and shoot a plate of the other one.
Okay, maybe. That's like real work.
Hey,
hard. Byron.
And then also do a video plate so that way you can have yourself walking in the background.
Right. That would just to be annoying and obnoxious. Hey, guess what? Guess what we missed 2 weeks ago?
Justin, what did we miss 2 weeks ago?
The 6th year anniversary of Masks, Mats, and Mayhem. Can you believe that we have done this for over 6 years now?
Wow.
6 fucking years. We started this show before Keeping It 100 started, believe it or not.
Sorry, I'm trying to get the Instagram post out, and I'm distracted by our banter.
So 6 years we've been doing this show, 190 episodes now. We have taken some very long stretches of time off that we have not always been consistent. Because if we had done 6 years straight, we would be at like 400 episodes.
Yeah.
But we have taken a few sabbaticals. Oh, Godze, thank you, sir. Thank you.
Even with the breaks, this is probably my longest
running gig ever. The longest you've had any job?
Relationship with job, person, anything. Except for my cat.
Yeah.
My best friend.
You know what I was thinking about the other day?
Yes. Was it? Oh, I lost the Instagram post you were thinking about.
No, I wasn't thinking about Jordan Grace. Jordan Grace keeps popping up for me and Byron. And it's funny because I don't like any of Jordan's posts, or at least I probably haven't liked one of Jordan's posts in like 2 or 3 years. So you think the algorithm would do me more of a solid than putting up the health plan's horrible here, Gotze. I buy my own health insurance, and I'm sure Byron probably does too.
It's terrible.
Do you have benefits?
With my work, I had to work my job a year before I could qualify to have a work health insurance plan. I have to work a freelance gig for a year.
Yeah, same here.
Oh,
it's pretty much a nightmare.
It's basically, hey, go fuck yourself. That's our health plan.
So anyway, what I was thinking about Jeff Jarret and Road Dogg and a bunch of other stuff. Yeah. And it brought me to Kimbo Slice.
What's he doing?
I know that doesn't make any sense, but I'm thinking about Kimbo Slice. And by the way, the UFC this past weekend was ridiculous. Leon Edwards should not have won that fight. And then he face kicks my boy Kamaru Usman, who is my dog. That's my dude. That's my man. Like there's Mark photos of us and shit. Like Kamaru's my dude, but oh my God, did he just get caught? And the thing is, you can't even say about Leon Edwards that he caught him by accident because the shot that caught him was a set-up shot. So it was skill and effort and expertise that won the fight. He just lost the other, 25.3 minutes of the fight or whatever it was. I mean, it was like the end of the 4th round or 5th round. Dude was losing the fight. Dudes on commentary are talking about how not only has he lost his title shot, but that this probably means never get another title shot again in his career. Basically announcing that the dude's career is over. And then in the middle of one of those sentences, all of a sudden Rogan's doing,
The Rogan
like
meme?
holding, he's memeing himself. Anik is like trying to get him off of him. DC is doing it back to him because he's like, oh my God. Anyway, but so Kimbo Slice, I realized something about Kimbo Slice, and I don't know why. I just thought about this, but Kimbo Slice is Mike Tyson from the waist up.
Yeah.
He never had the legs or knees. And
below the shoulders.
Yeah, from the way, and the reason why he was able to knock dudes out is because he had all this stuff. And if you watch that Mike Tyson stuff with Henry Cejudo, where he's just showing Henry Cejudo how to do that jump in uppercut thing that he does, and the footwork and all that stuff, Mike had the footwork. Kimbo never had that. He was doomed in MMA and all these other things, and it was like, I compared CM Punk to Kimbo in a lot of ways. And I know that seems absurd because Kimbo was an absolute killer. But when CM Punk first came into WWE and some of the stuff he was doing right before that, CM Punk was the guy from the street. He was the guy that made you harken back to the ECW days, even though, he was kind of right after that. And you always kind of were like, damn, if CM Punk had been in ECW. And CM Punk, he had this thing about him. And it was the same thing that I felt about Kimbo Slice. But then you also find out at a certain point in time that thing, and with Kimbo, it was because he was that dude from the waist up. With CM Punk, he wasn't necessarily built for a big company. He really wasn't. He really isn't now, which is kind of the whole thing that I wanted to get into. And the reason why I brought up Kimbo Slice is because I was thinking about all this stuff, and I was just thinking about Kimbo and his knees, and I was thinking about some of the big guys and some of the bumps that I've seen this week too in wrestling, where as an average viewer, you don't think it's a bad bump, but when the guy overshoots a little bit and he takes it on his feet or lands standing up, that's not necessarily a good thing, guys. That is how these guys get their knees just jacked. This is what happens to all the New Japan guys. This is what happens to a lot of big men. You know what hurts big men the most? When they bump out of the ring. They sit there on the ropes. They wait for the shot. They do the little lariat and they flips them over, but they're going down an extra 4 or 5 feet onto their legs. You think they're going to be cushioned for the blow, but these guys got big, stiff legs and their knees lock up. And that over time is what has damaged half of the guys that you know and love. It's not jumping off the top rope with an elbow drop. It's not splatting every now and then in the ring doing some, finisher move or something. Yeah, there's some finisher moves that are bad on necks, and I've seen a few of those this week too. Not to mention probably the most heavyweight-esque Canadian destroyer of all time this week.
Oh, the one that Edge did?
Yeah.
Why?
Like y'all some big boys to be I know we're in Canada, but maybe not so much on the break in the young guy's neck. Like Damian Priest, God bless Damian Priest, because the second Edge was like, yeah, I want to do a destroyer tonight. I'd have been like, can I back out of this match now? And it's not like a crazy move because literally one guy is just basically throwing himself into a back bump. But when that dude is like 6'5" and 280, that's a different story all of a sudden. Yeah. Like Damian and Edge are not small dudes. That spot was crazy. But anyway, it got me thinking about some of the CM Punk stuff. And, when he came into WWE, he brought kind of the Ring of Honor mystique, and he had this kind of shoot fight thing that nobody was doing. Like what CM Punk was doing back then is what half of the business is doing now. And then, he was able to have heat with the old WCW guys and with the WWE guys. He represented something else. And ECW guys were falling flat a little bit too, because they had been so co-opted, and anybody who showed up, everyone was kind of like, well, you sold out. No one was thinking that about CM Punk because there wasn't that other route for him by the time he was coming up. And he was that guy for everyone who was like over the shenanigans and the Vince of it all at the time. And that really worked. Vince had won. Don't forget, Vince had won wrestling back then.
Mm-hmm.
All of it. And that was to his detriment, by the way, because ratings started to slump off for wrestling overall. And we had just come through this period where everyone was hot-shotting and everything was big, this, big, that, for years, for two solid years, maybe 3. Every night of every promotion was hot-shotting, big-time stuff. Vince won it all, and then you get CM Punk. So it made sense. And other than Jeff and Dixie, who everybody kind of knew were a hot mess, Vince was like the only game in town. Now we're back at...
Punk also wrestled for TNA. Everyone got Addis to try out.
Yeah, and people were kind of making the rounds. It's just, at the time, there was this certain feeling about Punk, especially from the fans and the smart marks, because smart mark was really just a thing at that point in time where the internet had really become a thing. People could actually start to go and watch his older stuff and see that he always had this kind of cool straight edge punk rock, thing. He was also doing a lot of MMA moves when even MMA guys like Ken Shamrock weren't doing them.
Yep.
Tank Abbott wasn't doing MMA moves. He was just brawling, Ken Shamrock was doing a roll up half Boston Crab thing. It wasn't a real ankle lock. Like nobody was doing real MMA stuff, and CM Punk was doing it more than half of those guys. It was like, Taz and CM Punk, and Taz was doing mostly judo stuff and a little bit of BJJ. Like, CM Punk was doing Muay Thai and MMA stuff, and it was super cool at the time. So I gave CM Punk all his due, and then pipe bomb this, that, and the other thing, and you know the rest of the story. But now I say to fans, I knew what I wanted from CM Punk back then. I knew why CM Punk's whole run there worked for me. I got to ask fans at this point, what the fuck do you want from this guy? Like, what do you want from this guy? And I mean that in a good way and a bad way. Of like, everyone's complaining that, CM Punk, when he first got to AEW, didn't get the rocket shit strapped to him. But if he had, people would have complained about that. Like, it was probably the right timing. And the MJF feud leading up to his title run was cool. Then people complain that he's not edgy enough and he's not dropping the pipe bomb type stuff enough. And then so he comes out this week and he shoots for real on Hangman Adam Page, which we'll get into a little bit more.
Mm-hmm.
But then like there's all this complaining about it. And it's like, well, does he need to wrestle, Goatse? And that'll be part of my next question. He needs to wrestle, but he's an older guy now. I don't know that you want to see him wrestle. He's not the best in the world. The best in the world is part of the gimmick. Like Bryan Danielson is better than CM Punk as a wrestler, and I don't think anybody's really going to question that. But also, like, neither of them can go like they used to. Bryan Danielson can do that, once every 2 months. He can't be doing it every week, and CM Punk certainly can't either. A lot of these guys can't, and I've never had a problem with that. Go ahead.
I also think as far as roster management and how you curate your TV show, AEW has done a good job of having their like upper mid card, like the Ricky Steamboat tier, the IC tier, be the TNT championship. And you see those guys, you see that champ wrestler, you see the people in the mix for that wrestle more often. They kind of drive the show, the work rate of the show. Those who are in the running for the main title, the AEW World title, they are treated much more as special attractions,
and they should be. And I think most promotions are that way.
And that's how you do it. You differentiate, but also you kind of you get more money out of it. Like you're also like taking
I'll
care
say
of those
this.
guys.
I want somebody to count it up. Roman, who has consistently been the champ this entire year, but is a part-timer for WWE, count up how many times he's actually wrestled, and in 2022, with the injury, how many times CM Punk has wrestled. And I bet they're pretty close, believe it or not. Even with CM Punk going and sitting and there being an interim champ for the last, 2-3 months?
Yeah.
I would almost bet. Now, the way that WWE positions it and plays it, you feel Roman's presence a lot more often than when you're actually seeing him in the ring. He's cutting more promos. He's doing more pull-aparts. There's more action involved in him. But if you look at actual matches, tag or singles, that he has stepped into the ring and taken, regular back bumps in a match and not just some kind of pull apart or scrum outside the ring, it's probably pretty close to the number that CM Punk did. Because don't forget, at the beginning of the year, CM Punk actually wrestled quite a bit. He did a bunch of tags. He did a bunch of storyline stuff. He did a bunch of MJF stuff. He hung himself with a dog collar. Like, he did all sorts of crap. And that was all in 2022, I believe. That was almost all this very beginning of this year. Anyway, so he cuts this promo. We got to talk about this promo. It's what everyone's talking about. There's definitely some other stuff I want to talk about, but let's start with the Hangman thing, because he did that first. And it was dirty. It was low. Like, people who are calling CM Punk out for what he did to Hangman, just like he said, tell me if I'm lying. I'm not lying. It was wrong, because Hangman didn't know he was calling him out. He wasn't backstage ready to retort. Nobody in the writer's room, nobody booking had anything prepared for that moment. He's not in an angle with Hangman Page. He's not going to be in an angle with Hangman Page right now unless they changed it because of this. And there's a story behind it, but basically he went out there, he went into business for himself and called a dude out that he knew wasn't going to come out from behind the curtain. That's fucked up. And then called him a coward for not doing it. I get calling him out. It's fine. And honestly, I honest to God believe that CM Punk was trying to do him a little bit of a favor by keeping Hangman relevant, believe it or not, which that promo actually did. It just didn't do it in a very good light, because it made him look like a bitch that he's going to call him out like he's scared to actually come out and say something or confront CM Punk, which, by the way, he's absolutely not. He's not afraid of that dude at all. He's not afraid of Phil Brooks in any fashion. I believe, and he could be wrong. Who knows? Like, Phil might whoop his ass in the fucking back alley. But at the same time, I think in Hangman's mind, he believes that in a real shoot fight, honest to God, man to man, toe to toe with Phil, that he would clown that guy. So I don't believe that he's afraid of him, whether he should be or not. Okay. But you can't say it wasn't kind of fucked up to go off script from what everybody at the whole promotion wanted or was expecting. And from what I understand, he 100% was off script. Not Tony, not anybody knew that he was going to put any word about anything of Hangman Page in his mouth in that promo. So, and he didn't just talk shit on the guy. Talking shit on the guy, going a little rogue, you're the champ, they give you some free mic time, fine. That's fine. Talk shit on the guy. Whatever. You're the champ. Who cares? But calling him out, sitting down, waiting for him, that's kind of fucked up. Like, the announcers don't know what to do at that moment. That was a pipe bomb, but it wasn't a pipe bomb that exploded necessarily in a good way. It was kind of like a lot of people in the back going, the fuck, dude? Like, if we're going to do an angle with Hangman, let's do an angle with Hangman. If we're not, like, why the fuck are you doing this and trying to make one of our stars look bad?
Yeah, but it's to your point, about keeping Hangman in the conversation. Punk would always find a way to throw Eddie under the bus in a tweet or in a promo or in something. And I think he is smart about that. I think Eddie Kingston has been really great at pioneering that type of attitude and engagement with everyone in and around storylines. Eddie hates everyone. Eddie is in a huge double cage death match to main event a pay-per-view, and he's out there on the go home show yet dropping F-bombs at his new partner. And the new partner is replacing the old partner who Eddie also hates. And it's just...
and he got a storyline over where there was no storyline in one go home, which is what was genius about that.
So for me, and I mean, I could go into a lot more detail, but just to make it very succinct, this is what I liked a lot from the Attitude Era. Some things don't age well, but I think one thing that did was the natural competition on the top of the card from talent who had an edge against each other. There was a professionalism to a degree, but Rocky and Triple H were never friends. Are they friends now? They probably know how to be friends more. But
I think they're friends, and the fact that they can both look at each other and laugh hysterically because they made a lot of money together. and from all that stuff.
But and
they got through it without killing each other.
Yeah, but they to this day, I mean, maybe it's a little bit different because of Triple H's health issues, but like to this day, I'm sure, and I think Triple H has mentioned this as a sort of joke, but like he's still like, oh, Rock said he's going to be in the gym at 3 a.m. I'm going to be in the gym at 2:30, and I'm, there's still a competition there, and I think that's healthy. I think,
but see, and I don't disagree with that. And my sincere hope is that CM Punk is doing that, but that's not the way I hear it.
But see, I personally, for me, I think what this boils down to at the end of the day is that we got out of Punk's injury, we got a pretty cool bonus match coming up between Punk and Mox, which is a huge match, 2 superstars, but in actuality,
but there's also a reason they're giving it away in Cleveland, because it is a bonus. You're correct.
But the thing is, like, it was originally, and I think that was kayfabe, going to be at All Out, one of their marquee pay-per-views. That would have to be like a main event, but it's really an exhibition match.
It's not a main event,
because
and that's the whole thing. Like, this is smart. Get into it hot, get it done. Let's move the storylines forward to whatever else we had planned and get back on track.
Now we make it interesting. We get it, and we get it out of the way. Also, like, we have to get on track with everything. Kenny's back. He's doing his stuff. He's doing his road to his Kenny. Whatever hero's journey. Yeah. He's fine, but he's smart and he's not playing all the notes at once, But we have to get Punk there. And so Punk is going to win. Mox was never going to lose before Punk. He had great matches, but they were all exhibition matches. And this is going to be an exhibition.
And he bled a lot.
And he
did all of the bleeding for a whole year. Now he can go and like let that one wound that he keeps opening up heal.
So now there's heat added. People are actually talking about it. It got moved up. So Dynamite's going to do really well. And, some people don't know what's going to happen. Is Punk going to leave? All this stuff.
So let's talk about some of
now it's interesting.
Let's talk about some of that stuff, because there is more going on backstage, and a lot of it's a woot, a shirk, whatever you want to call it. It's a little bit of a shoot that's been turned into a work intentionally. CM Punk has had some grumbles backstage. People are broadly misinterpreting that from what I hear. Mm-hmm. CM Punk has said stuff like, well, fuck it. If it's going to be like that, I just won't be here. Or like, if we're not going to do it the right way, I don't want to be in AEW. Like, yeah, he said some stuff like that. But people have to understand, that's not really him threatening to leave. That's him big dicking a situation to be like, hey, dude, I'm the top guy. I don't want a job to Hangman Page. If I'm jobbing to guys like Hangman Page, I don't want to be here. Like, I'll tell you who I'll job to. And he'll job to some younger guys on the roster. It's not that. He doesn't want a job to Hangman Page because it's one of Kenny's boys, and Hangman is too credible right now for him to job to. Maybe there's a point in time when he'll lay down for Hangman, but he doesn't feel like that time is now. And I get it. And to me, here's a hot take for you. I think that CM Punk and Hangman Page are both bitches, and for completely different reasons. I think that CM Punk has earned his moment over a long time in his mind. Some of it's true, some of it's not true, because he did take a long time off and didn't really have to work back into his spot. But look, he popped some numbers. He's as big a draw as anything AEW's got. So yeah, he's the top guy.
I do have something to add to that about Punk.
He wants to, I'm just saying he wants to be a top guy. He knows what those guys did at WCW.
This is what Sasha was doing. Sasha was trying to make that top guy sort of pull. And, it's a gamble when you do it. And sometimes when they call your bluff, what do? Do you put your tail between your legs or go back to your locker room? Like, I think she was trying to feel how big she was swinging backstage at WWE with Vince at the time. It's a similar thing. But
and she was more wrong, and Phil's a bigger draw and has a little more clout. And also, is willing to and has shown that he will take his ball and go home. And maybe that will help Sasha on her end down the line, but you always run two risks. And part of the risk that CM Punk ran is part of why there is actual heat for CM Punk with some people backstage. There are plenty of people, especially off the indies, that do not have respect for what CM Punk has done. They think that he's coming in and just getting a big spot. But also, fuck those guys. Like, Hangman's a little bit of that kind of guy too. And it's like, I get that you care about the company. I get that you think the backstage attitude and everything means something. You know, CM Punk's not the oldest guy in the world, but also he was in that WWE system. Don't forget, John Bradshaw Layfield was still there when CM Punk was there. There was wrestlers court. There were things going on in the back. There were people getting potatoed and getting receipts for shit. There was still a hierarchy and a system. CM Punk still did live through that and doesn't give a shit about the snowflake-ism of wrestling right now. He's just not that guy. He's a little more supportive. He's a little more liberal in his thinking of a new age of wrestling, but also this is a guy that paid his dues. He got shit on by a lot of dudes in more powerful positions than him for a long time at WWE. So when guys like Hangman and other newer, younger talent that have come off the indies and have had some decent big runs at places, but when they're complaining about stuff, he just doesn't care. He just doesn't give a fuck. And maybe he should, but he doesn't. And he's a top guy, and he's swinging his top guy dick around, and it offends Hangman. But look, Hangman went into business on CM Punk too. This promo was a receipt. When Hangman came out there and cut his promo about protecting the company from CM Punk, that line was not scripted. A lot of that promo was. He was on the books for a lot of that, and he didn't go completely off the rails, but he threw in some real jabs that he really meant, from everything that I've heard, that weren't meant to be like, you know, destroying anything. He knew he wasn't going to offend CM Punk, but he wanted to use a little bit of his natural, real feeling about the situation. And they had discussed making the angle a little bit weird since it was a two babyface thing and doing a little bit of a questioning thing. So he went off script a little bit and he threw in a couple jabs, shots fired across the bow. And now CM Punk is like, dude, I want the apology for that to be as public, you know, as when you said it in the first place. And since it hasn't been, since that was all backstage with me and you handshaking in front of Tony and getting called into meetings and bullshit, because they got called into the meeting, which we've talked about here before for some other issues that we won't mention again, but they got called into the meeting about that. When Page did it, he apologized. They straightened things out. They did their little match. But CM Punk also said in front of a lot of people at AEW that he would not lay down for Hangman Page. So Hangman's still pissed. CM Punk to this day has said basically, I'm never letting that guy go over on me.
Yeah. And I think that goes into how Punk is super nice and super cool and super supportive until something bothers him. And then he's still the cranky old man he's ever been.
And he doesn't care. But either you love him for it or you hate him for it.
But what it comes down to is, and this is actually like a literal example. You can't make a good wrestling show filled with librarians, well-behaved librarians, you know? So you like, especially the top of the card, you need to have explosive, alpha, extroverted personalities. I think Hangman is sort of proving him like to be sort of like that. You know, he took the shot for something he believed in. Punk is very much like that. Kenny has Don Callis with him, who Don Callis will make sure he and Kenny are going over when they need to go over. It's just, you have a lot, and it's not their job necessarily to make sure everyone coexists. It's their job to be interesting. And then it's Tony's job to have a system or to personally wrangle everything in so it works. That's
but it also doesn't have, it is Tony's job at AEW because, like, you know, what's going to happen after this segment goes off the rail? QT Marshall is going to chastise CM Punk? No.
Well, I mean,
and don't forget that CM's a little mad at Tony for some of the Colt Cabana stuff.
Yeah.
Like some of CM Punk's buddies and friends from the indies are not getting very good treatment at AEW in his opinion.
No, he wanted
He wanted him out.
He wanted Colt gone, and then the Bucks and the Elite contingent kept him
right.
for Ring of Honor. But that's also fucked up.
But I'm saying like he's not getting his way. He's mad. He's temper tantruming. He's not getting his way.
Yeah.
But also Hangman's mad and temper tantruming and not getting his way. Mm-hmm. Again, I think they're both little bitches. But my thing to the fans is this is who CM Punk always was.
Yeah.
Don't turn on him now. Like, I get it. He's ruffling feathers. He's taking shots. Part of it is the style of things that they've been doing at AEW and in wrestling in general. Everybody is doing more shoot level promos. You saw it with fucking KO and Drew McIntyre, for Christ's sakes, on WWE. Like, Roman's been shooting. Like, everybody's shooting a little bit now. It's fine. It's fine. And the second half of the CM Punk promo was amazing. Yeah. When he said that Moxley was always the third best guy in his own factions.
It's great.
So true.
The thing is, Punk is a giant prick.
Right. But to think of that with a guy that is kind of portrayed as the top guy right now. And Punk came up himself. Calling Moxley the best guy in every faction he's ever been in is absolutely just fucking funny.
Can you repeat that? It's robot-y.
It's absolutely funny.
Yeah,
that he called him the third best guy.
Also, like when Moxley was coming to the ring, Punk was like, "Oh, I got time," and he started doing snow angels in the ring, like huge dick move. Like again, just like with Page, he was like sort of poking holes at Mox's kayfabe presentation, like. Mox is this dangerous dude. No, he's like, he has to do a song and dance first before he even gets to the ring and blah, blah, blah. Like, I'm not scared of this guy. And then, but they both took shots at each other and it makes it interesting. It makes the match interesting. And it's up to Tony to make sure they both show up to work next week. And I think it's cool. I like that. I like that edge,
Yeah, I'm just saying to fans, like, I saw so much kerfluffle about it and people like being legit. Like, I don't like CM Punk anymore. Like, what are you talking about? This is exactly the guy.
Yeah,
this is exactly what you want from this guy. There is nothing else to this guy. You want 2 years of this, of him pissing off people backstage, or maybe not. Maybe it's a shoot. Maybe it's a work. He's coming out. He's saying the most ridiculous things on the mic. Like, I think every time he touches a microphone, it should be worse than whatever he did with the pipe bomb. I think he should be cutting promos on WWE, calling out people by name, talking shit on Vince, talking shit on guys in the back of the locker room. He should not care. He is not here for a Hall of Fame run. He's here for, I'm here to make this company big. He needs to be, for AEW, the modern version of people throwing sodas at Hulk Hogan.
Yeah.
He needs to ruin your childhood image of wrestling. He needs to do all of this stuff. And at the end of the day, I'm not going to sit down and have a drink with Phil Brooks either, because guess what? He doesn't fucking drink. And I don't like Pepsi. Like, fuck that guy. He's lame. He's not interesting in real life. He's not cool. But as a wrestler and this character being the dick that he actually is, great. I hope he pisses off every Hangman on the planet. Who is Hangman?
You know who Hangman is? Hangman is someone who could eventually make a lot of money pinning CM Punk, down the road. Now that Punk said, I'll never do it, people will pay money.
Pay more money to see it. Yeah. First of all, Hangman should accept the fact that all CM Punk could possibly be doing at this point is making him more money, keeping him relevant. Because realistically, what? We've got a Wardlow. We've got a Hangman. We've got, a lot of guys. We got Trent Beretta. Like, there's plenty of guys that are really great mid-card level wrestlers that could elevate to the top of the card with the right storyline, the right push, the right amount of time put into them. I hate to say it, but Hangman is more a dime a dozen than a lot of guys. And it takes a lot to be that guy that is in that category that pushes through. Like, you saw what happened to Kevin Cross.
Yeah.
Bro, I was watching the Kevin Cross interview that we did with him 5 years ago when he first went to AAA. And boy, does he look young in that thing. It's creepy, weird.
Yeah.
But, you know, and he's talking about the challenges and the stuff that he faced. It was like everybody could see, like smart people in the business could see, holy shit, this guy's going to be money. This guy is one of the next big things. Once Vince finally gets his hands on him, that's all anyone would ever say about that guy. And what happened when Vince finally got his hands on him? He put him in a skirt and fired him.
Yeah.
Like that's what happened. And like, it doesn't always work. And it's harder than you think. And it's like Hangman is in the same spot that Cross was in. It's like, look, if somebody believes in you, you get the right push, you get some moments, you build up some good stuff, it will help. But every moment like this helps him. Yeah. Staying relevant, staying in the zeitgeist helps him.
I remember, I mean, I think speaking of Cross in the dress, I think Cross's biggest asset, what, you know, from that conversation and others we've had with him, was he wanted to make himself an ideal employee, you know, and so he was doing everything he did was serving that. And then when he got to Vince, he's like, I am a malleable asset of yours.
Yeah. Like everybody complained about him jobbing to Jeff Hardy. Guess who didn't complain about that?
Yeah.
Cross.
But
Cross
you know what?
Never complained about that. He never had any issue that everyone thought he had. He was like, oh, dude, that's Jeff Hardy. I'll go out and lay down for that guy.
But you know, my thing with that is like, and so far, you know, at the end of the day, it's worked out for him. But like that, it's roll of the dice, and jobbing 100%. To Jeff Hardy for that at that point was wrong. Changing up his presentation after there was the investment in him and introduction to the WWE fans, that was wrong. Making him look silly in a sloppy, proportioned bondage suit. All of the choices were wrong.
Correct.
But, you know,
and they were all Vince's.
They were all Vince's. And that's, you know, I think that's where that run ultimately failed, because had like the objective been like, I need to like, you know, if he was a little bit more steadfast in the characters he was developing and like what he developed with Triple H.
Right. But also look at this. So he leaves WWE for whatever the actual reason was, but he is the most booked over guy on the indies. He's working 2 and 3 dates every week at top indie dollars in the main events of every indie show in the country. He's constantly on an airplane. You know, he had to take 3 weekdays and go directly from a show and fly to Alaska to marry his girl. You know, like he had to get that far away to even go get married because he was so on everyone's radar.
Yeah.
Plus, the thing that he had on his side was it wasn't him. There wasn't a person in wrestling besides Vince and maybe Nick Khan that ever thought that Cross wasn't the guy. And the funny thing is, everyone for Cross's whole career said, wait till Vince gets a hold of this guy.
Yeah. And
everyone just expected that Vince would do his regular big man thing, but nobody realized that, you know, this whole Nick Khan thing had gotten into Vince's head of programming a show that worked the way that Nick's vision was, that Vince agreed with, because you can't do it without Vince's approval, but Vince agreed with it for the purpose of bolstering the company's value. And that's not about ratings. And I know everyone thinks this is about ratings or better storylines. It's not. The company as a whole is more important. They've got the TV rights deals, guys. Yeah. The ratings, the ratings are USA's concern. The ratings are Fox's concern. And yes, you want good ratings for when you renegotiate, but Vince doesn't do ad sharing like they used to. The ratings don't matter for WWE the way that they used to. And people don't understand this. WWE is a licensed, finished program owned by the public company WWE. It's not the same as most, like even the shows that me and Byron make are not, the ownership structure is not that way. We don't work on licensed shows. We work on shows typically that are owned by the networks. If you don't get ratings and numbers, the networks are pissed because they're not buying the show. They're selling the ads.
Right. and I think this is something I do want to make just a quick thing about Hangman, because I do have a soft spot for him. Where when AEW started, you knew Hangman was gonna be the guy, and you knew he was leaving New Japan, where he was beginning to make his way up for that break. But like, there wasn't anything too impressive about him other than he was like a 6 foot something tall cowboy who could do a backflip, and everyone could do a backflip now. And I feel like where you're saying that he's at now, that sort of crossroads, I thought he was at going into AEW, where he wasn't in main event star level shape. He didn't have the presentation. We didn't watch him do a live promo for AEW for like a couple years.
Like a year. At least a year.
Yeah. And I remember, like, even on my best day back then, like in Hangman, someone goes, "Hey, do you think he should be champ?" And I'm like, I dig the guy, but I want to see him do a live promo on Dynamite before.
Like he's going to need some time. And he still does.
Yeah, and he still does. But I think he is, for me, and I know a lot of people don't agree, but for me, he's one of the most intricate and layered characters in the show. And I don't know if they're doing the best job of cycling him out.
I think it's an event. I have to say, I think that's a detriment to him. As much as everyone complains about the WWE shoving it down your throat thing, like the cowboy shit gimmick needed to go a year and a half. It went, 6 months, 5 months? Like the cowboy shit gimmick was done halfway through his title reign.
Yeah.
And that's that. Like, look, they did it. They got your boy to a place where we can put the strap on him. He can be a top guy. These crowds are chanting his name. They're popping when he comes out. Like, whether it be heel heat or love or whatever, you need that on that guy if you want him to draw money. The problem with Hangman Page is, after all that, the way that they got him out of it and whatever the CM Punk thing was and where he's been right now, I see Hangman on an AEW card as the headliner. It doesn't draw money. Now, maybe he's in the right feud against the right guy, but what I'm saying is you still have to think it's Hangman versus who. When it gets to the point where he can headline because it's Hangman versus ? That's when he's there. CM Punk can do that.
Yeah.
Jon Moxley can even do that a little bit. And Jon Moxley is the third best in every faction he's ever been in. Like, I'd pay to see Cesaro over Jon Moxley. I'd pay to see D-Bry over Jon Moxley. I'd pay to see Roman Reigns over Jon Moxley. And I'd pay to see Seth Rollins over Jon Moxley. But guess what? I'd also still pay to see Jon Moxley.
Yeah. I mean,
he might be the third guy, but I'd pay for him too.
You're talking about, like, groups of all-timers,
Well, so exactly, but he's been in all of them, and that's why it was funny when CM Punk said it, because it's true. Like, oh shit, dude, you are super good, but yeah, dude, you're the number 3 guy and like 3 of the best factions ever. Damn, that sucks.
I mean, are you even counting Regal too?
No, I'm not. I'm not. Just because he's not an active competitor. But look,
but Regal would fish hook the hell out of Mox if Mox.
But dude, Claudio, by all rights, Claudio should be third on that list in his current faction,
right?
But he's not.
No,
he's not.
And it's also like,
he is so over right now.
If you're looking at managing your assets and this and that, like, you need him to produce. You need him to be. He's gonna carry Ring of Honor. He is instrumental to those deals that are being made as well. Also, like, you made that investment, and he should be on the upswing with a lot to prove. Mox is great. Mox helped the company out. Mox was one of the first names when they needed names to put on a poster, to sign, or to get deals. And, and that's important. But also, Mox doesn't have to do another outstanding thing ever again. He can have his matches, go to GCW and have his, no DQ matches in AEW and bleed everywhere. And it'll be awesome, and it's like, but he is who he is at this point. And I
agree.
And he's at the top of the company, but he's not going to go any higher.
But it's also fine. And that's part of why it's funny when CM Punk says it, because it's like, we don't need to count on Mox to put asses in seats. Like, that's not what Mox is there for. Mox is the entertainment factor. Like,
Yeah.
Just like he said it. Like Mox is kind of the heart and soul, and CM Punk is the dollars and cents. That's fine. I don't think there's a problem with that. You know what I'm saying? There's and I don't think there should be. Let me blast through.
Casey had a tire while he was driving home today.
Oh, Jesus. I'm sorry.
Everyone tweeted Casey at Lucha Gringo. His car's at the mechanic. He said he couldn't not hit it. So I guess Casey also is bad at driving. He's probably looking at his phone.
I don't know. In LA, man, there's just not a whole lot
of
ways to avoid stuff. You know, I once went to Philadelphia and got a flat. So
I remember that. Everyone hit up the Lucha Gringo at Twitter and asked him if his car's okay. Ask him what he did to fuck it up. But let me blast. To the point of where I got sidetracked. But like Claudio is so much more important than Mox at the moment because he is representing a brand that is trying to be sold. WWE.
I don't even think that matters. I honestly don't. Yeah. I don't even think it matters. The Ring of Honor of it all doesn't matter. It could be any random extra championship that Tony has lying around on his desk. It's not, and it does make sense that he's doing it for Ring of Honor. He's a perfect candidate for it. It's exactly what Tony needed. He's the guy that Tony never knew that he needed.
Yeah, but then you also look at like the Nick Khan image of WWE and how you're saying ratings don't matter, you know, on that scale. And what you're looking at is you're looking at assets. What are the faces on the posters? And it's like, oh, we have, you know, there's a bunch of guys like Cross and and Swerve and Keith Lee that Nick Khan was happy to let go because he didn't see their face on the poster. That was where the poster would make them money, you know.
But that also
what that
wasn't
is. It's
it.
like, but
he let Vince pick, you know, who those people were. But what Nick Khan's strategy was like, man, you tell me, but we either got to clear out some of the top or we got to clear out a lot of the middle.
Yeah.
And Vince's thing was, I'm never letting go of my big names. Let's start looking at clearing out the middle.
Yeah. But so they cleared out a bunch of names that weren't going to necessarily help selling the show, but they'd also hurt the quality of the show. You know,
I don't think Vince was right.
And then, you know, they recently went and poached Cody Rhodes because they wanted that face on a poster because that is going to help make them money on a sale. They went and signed Ronda Rousey years ago because that got them their big TV deals. And what I think is, and she still pops a number,
by the way. Her quarter-hour numbers are huge.
Good for her. I mean, she's still a huge star.
She bumps numbers. Roman Reigns bumps numbers. Logan Paul bumps numbers.
Oh, for sure. And also, you know, I don't know if I hate Logan Paul as much as I used to anymore. I mean, it takes a lot. It takes a lot to come in and consistently be good in pro wrestling. Like, there's a level of and the act he does. Like, he's not coming in and doing a Goldberg act, you know.
But then also, if he's that good and he's not wrestling regularly, he's got to Shane McMahon it now for the rest of his career. Like, he's got to come out and do crazy shit every single time. Or he needs Logan Paul.
He needs a paycheck. He's like 35, 40
right,
years
but I expect him to earn it.
So now he has to drop off the stage with a leg drop.
Every single time. Like, bro, you in your second match in WWE, your first one was WrestleMania, your second one was a SummerSlam, and you jumped from the top of the post and did a perfect frog splash through a guy on a table 12 feet away. You have now set the bar extremely high for yourself. And if you're not out there bumping every week to get my attention, that's fine. I understand that. But when you show up, I expect that you are going to coast to coast it. You're going to, you know, jump on a trash can through something. Like, you got to have at least 2 big spots every single time now and put yourself in some serious jeopardy for me to keep my respect. But anyway, let me blast through some of Dynamite real quick.
I wanted to get into AEW having a TV deal coming up.
We're getting there. We're getting there because that's a big deal. But I just want to blast through a couple of other quick things. Bryan Danielson versus Daniel Garcia, 2 out of 3 falls. I get it. Wasn't my thing.
I loved it, but
I'm not mad at either guy, but
I loved it so much. But I also, one of my friends that I talked to, who also, by the way, gave me the same intel about how Punk, as good as he is and as good as he's doing for AEW, it's not a financially sound investment yet.
It is not. It is not. And there's going to be some issue. There's going to be some big issues with that coming up soon, but we'll get to that.
But yeah, I enjoyed it. But I see a lot of people are asking, why is Bryan Danielson giving so much?
But here's the problem. Here's the problem for me. You had such a big open to the show, and then you still have this big match feel that you want to go first, but it wasn't first. Now it's the second match of the night, and it just felt like, man, with everything else going on this card, it didn't need this match. And then a lot of this match was really good and got the crowd kind of hyped up. So then what happened after this was you got a crowd that's cold until the main event after this match too. I mean, they've seen this big CM and Mox pull apart thing with all this hot mic time, which is great. It was kind of the WWE formula. But then you went right into a really long match that is a very technical wrestling match. I don't think that was a good look. I think you put that in a different spot in the show, or just not on this show. And it wasn't the match that it wasn't because of Debray and Garcia. I think that the storyline didn't work in this spot because you're distracted by other stuff. And the length and type of this match was just placed poorly, which at the end of the day is a byproduct of how the show is being booked and written. Anyway, Jungle Boy cuts an awful promo. Like, oh, here you go. Christian and Jungle Boy, God bless them, like, have been having some of the best promos in the business. And then on the night where CM Punk and Mox just light it the fuck up, they have to come out and rehash their thing, and Jungle Boy just flopped this time. It was so fucking brutal. It was so horrible. Like, I still give him benefit of the doubt because he's done really, really well in this program so far. This was just, I felt bad for him. This was a total low point.
I'm so happy whenever Christian comes out on those segments.
Yeah, but even Christian is like, you're a son to me, come back home, tackle, blah, blah, blah. All of that shit was
the
too
pacing,
transparent.
Yeah,
the pacing was off. Jungle Boy had fucked it up because it wasn't hot for when Christian came out. And so
you know what Jungle Boy could use besides a t-shirt that makes him look cool? Facial expressions.
Maybe something else. I don't know what it is. FTR and Wardlow next week's Dax the Axe wants Jay Lethal. And next week is tomorrow, and which I'll be there, by the way, in the front row.
Everyone say hi to Justin.
And the only reason I'm bringing up this backstage promo that really didn't amount to much was the fact that, like, you just announced that for Cleveland, Dax is wrestling Jay Lethal. The fuck? Wardlow is standing right there. He's like the ultimate hometown hero. They're having trouble selling some of the seats at that place. Why the fuck is he not billed prominently on the card? He better be secretly injured or something. And I'm sure they're going to actually do something. Later, Goats. I'm sure he's going to do something, or he'll have a Rampage match or something. Like, I don't think that they're completely oblivious to the fact that they have a belted guy from the city that they're going to. I just think they're oblivious to the fact that billing him on the card would have sold fucking tickets.
I feel like someone's going to tweet at Tony now, and he'll book the match by tomorrow morning.
No, I'm not doing it. I want to see if he does it on his own, if he's got enough common sense. I refuse to tell Tony how to book his show any further. I've given him enough ideas for a lifetime, and he's used 60% of them, whether they actually came from me or not. He's used all of Casey's. I'm so glad Casey's not on this show anymore, because Tony would have to watch it religiously, because he uses every idea that Casey has.
Except for let Penta win.
Well, besides that. But the way the matches are laid out is exactly what Casey always wants. It's just the finish.
Yeah.
Tony can't bring himself to do it. Anyway, Tony Storm defeats Kylan King. She's going to face Thunder Rosa and Tony Storm at All Out, whatever. Tony Storm versus Thunder Rosa at All Out. So that sucks for me, because I don't think we're getting any Thunder Rosa tomorrow. I don't know. I'm pretty sure Britt has a match, because she's going to get all the Pittsburgh heel heat. So
Thunder will probably have a promo or something.
Yeah, she'll probably have a backstage promo or whatever. And I hit her up a couple weeks ago. I told her at the show, and she said that maybe we can kick it or do something else. But who knows if she'll actually. I want to see. This is going to suck. I can't complain. There's going to be a great fucking card tomorrow that I'm getting really lucky that anything interesting is happening in Cleveland. But It's already better than what WWE did. And I'm also a little pissed about the Gargano thing, but we'll get into that in a minute. Like, you knew he was coming back for 2 weeks and you couldn't do it in Cleveland. Fuck you guys. Anyway, it worked great though. Death Triangle versus United Empire is going to be tomorrow.
Oh my God.
I'm really looking forward to. Come on, Will Ospreay and Pentagon in Cleveland.
I just finished watching the G1, and Kevin Kelly repeatedly references Billy Goat as the best wrestler in the world today. And, I think there's like a handful that can make that argument because it's subjective and you can compare him. And he is, without a doubt, regardless of what you think of him, you see him in the ring, he is without a doubt, one of the best going. Win or lose this match, he's going to be exciting. He's going to be
entertaining, and
entertaining.
Right.
And like he's learned, I mean, you have a guy who was groomed by, if we can still say the word, speaking like last week, I said, I hate cancel culture and whatever those words. But
you said groomed.
Can you say groomed?
Next week on Mass Mats and Mayhem, it's Justin Outlaw and Meefloaf. Because
but like Ospreay, I remember 2015, Casey and I saw him at Bola, and he was great, but he was also he was a twig out there doing some
he's in a different place right now, man.
And he got groomed, taught, molded by Kenny, by Okada, and he learned the respect and the work ethic of New Japan, and also like how to get over and earn the respect of a crowd that doesn't speak your language, and he's phenomenal, and that is going to be an incredible thing to see live.
Well, look, he's the next Kenny Omega. Actually, he's the current Kenny Omega. And who isn't currently Kenny Omega? Kenny Omega.
Oh.
No.
I love Jay, by the way.
Look, the last match was Rush, Dragon Lee, and Andrade. I like the storyline kind of angle that they took with Dragon Lee. Him and Rush have just this is always the thing. Rush was probably pitching this backstage like, no, I gotta smash his face, man. I gotta smash his face. Like, I don't know if he just fucking hates his brother or what, but anytime they get in any kind of proximity to each other, somehow there's some kind of whatever. And they've been playing this up. They played it up in Ring of Honor a little bit.
Yeah.
And like this is what was going to happen.
He's getting his brother booked for more matches. It's like Hogan bringing, Beefcake and Horace around, except if they actually worked, a top 10, top 5, cruiserweight style.
Byron, here's what my notes say, and you'll love this note. My note says, these belts look great. I'm a big fan of the tall oval with the blue in there. Like, I love the way these belts look. You know what I don't like the look of? Kenny Omega's My First Toddler swim top that he wore with the arm brace. Like, I get it, bro, and I know you're not in shape, and it's a little bit of a gimmick, and it's kind of funny or whatever, but just don't. Like, it's not... The compression top, don't.
I think he's fine. I thought he was going to go for the Jeff Hardy pop, and maybe he'll do that in the championship match.
Please. That's a way better idea. Anyway, the Tope con Hero to Kenny in the front row was absolutely insane. Dragon Lee gets the MVP of the match, by the way, with closely followed by Matt Jackson. There was great stuff. Look, Andrade knocks him out right out of his mask for the loss, which was pretty awesome too, and the way that kind of played out. There were some fun moments. Like, look, Andrade needs more ring time. Kenny needs more ring time.
Yeah.
Like, I feel like Andrade's gotten a little bit complacent and lazy. And he's just simply not getting a lot of ring time. He's enough of a made guy that he doesn't have to go and work a whole bunch. I think that Kenny will get a little more crisp and on it, and he even laughed at himself a couple times in the match. Like, he missed a spring up move and he missed a couple of things. But
I think it's all kayfabe. I think Kenny, I think it is.
Come on. He looked right at Nick Jackson and laughed his ass off at himself of like, I didn't hit that one.
The moonsault.
And Nick was just kind of like, yeah, bro, it's fine. We got this. Like, and it is fine. And honestly, I enjoy watching those guys enjoying wrestling.
Yeah.
Counts for something too. Like, if you go out there and have fun with it, and it's kind of the way I felt about Ric Flair's match. Like, I would have enjoyed Ric Flair's last match if I felt like Rick was enjoying Ric Flair's last match.
If
Rick didn't know Rick was in Ric Flair's last match.
If Ric Flair was conscious for his last match, I could have enjoyed it. He said he was passed out for like 15 minutes because of dehydration because he was trying to cut weight for the thing. This guy who was drinking all weekend long.
Yeah.
You were dehydrated because of that and not anyway.
Look, I'm not even going to really talk about Rampage this week. This was a terrible episode. Terrible episode. I didn't mind Athena and Penelope Ford. I
like that match.
I thought that they were decent.
Got the
QT
cameo.
Marshall and Hobbs and Ricky Stark's factory stuff. It's bad. It's bad.
Yeah.
Best Friends defeating Trustbusters is fine, but I feel like this is really hurting Orange Cassidy, who I thought that they had done a really good job of getting over. And don't get me wrong, fans are liking it, and it's a great way to have. But I don't know, man. It's making Best Friends look like jobbers in their wins now. When they're all three together, something about the presentation is not working, and having them feuding with the Trustbusters, as much as I love Sonny and want to see Sonny get over, like it didn't work. It was just a bad episode all around. Claudio and Dustin, oh my God. We just said all sorts of great stuff about Claudio, but you want to talk about a promo that put me to sleep. These guys are talking about setting up a match for Cleveland, for Rampage and whatever, and I should be excited because I get to see the match. I'll be happy to watch the actual match, but at the same time, I don't get it. Like, they said all the right words, they did all the right things, but something about the presentation of these promos was fucking.
Claudio doesn't have as great as he is, and he can talk fine, but he doesn't have a cadence or like an energy.
I don't think, and Dustin came without it on purpose too, because he was trying to do. Here's the problem.
He was Dustin
Rhodes, the natural. Don't be so fucking natural. You're a goddamn WWE superstar from the heyday, bro. I don't need full of it all, but also I need some of that. Like, look at what Billy Gunn's doing in his acclaimed feuding with his own kids thing.
Yeah.
Like, best Billy Gunn we've seen in 15 years.
Oh my God.
Still getting fired up. He looks like $1 million, and I don't want to know how or why. Like,
we know.
I mean, exactly.
He's a professional bodybuilder.
And like, when I met Billy Gunn, like, I didn't realize how big that dude is.
Yeah.
He is double the size of Colton, who is also big. Like, I saw them together. They came to Pit Bulls and Parolees because they were getting a dog and wouldn't be on the TV show, by the way. So fuck you guys. But they come in and I'm just like, Billy Gunn put the sun out. He's huge.
Yeah.
He's just like fucking Eclipse walked in the building. And like, I talked to him and he was super cool. But like, where's that from Dustin Rhodes? Anyway,
right.
I want to get off of AEW for a minute.
Oh, I do want to since we're on Ram.
No. We'll come back to it in a second. Because
Trustbusters.
You want to talk about Trustbusters? Go ahead.
Real
talk
quick.
about Trustbusters.
Because a lot of people are hating on the Trustbusters. I think
are you going to tell me not to hate on the Trustbusters?
No, go ahead.
Eat this cracker really loudly.
Go ahead and hate on them, I guess. But like, I think the Orange Cassidy thing is they're just getting heat for their trios, bracket. But a lot of people are saying the same thing like you last week. Why are the Trustbusters main eventing a Rampage? And Tony Khan tweeted for last week, coming less than 48 hours off maybe the best AEW TV show we've ever done out of a few hundred, and given that it's Rampage Friday, I feel emboldened to point out that in 2021 I got very similar reactions for strapping the TV rocket to Garcia in 2.0 and in 2020 to the Acclaimed. And with regards to that, I'm not guaranteeing how it's going to end up, but I respect the whole Trustbusters thing. And they just added VSK as the Trust Butler, and they're giving it a shot. If you've seen any of the Dark tapings results or whatever, they are giving it a shot, and we'll see what happens. And
look, Dark Order got over, and everyone said that about Dark Order at the first pay-per-view too. Like, this is corny. Some people kind of liked it. It was weird.
Yeah.
So I think Dark he should add Dark Order to that original mix, because those guys weren't you know, and a couple of them are super over. A couple of them are super gone.
Yeah.
You know, it's like maybe it works. Maybe something does spring out of Trustbusters thing. Again, huge fan of Sonny Kiss. Our highest rated episode ever was an interview with Sonny Kiss. We're not mad at Sonny Kiss doing anything on television or being in any part of any faction. The headlining spot on Rampage, maybe not there yet, bro. Maybe not. And my problem with it is, again, I feel like it took Orange Cassidy specifically down a notch. And I also think they need to fix Best Friends or whatever. Like, they might almost need to put these trios titles on these guys. I don't know. I don't know. And they should do something with Orange because they keep doing this thing with him. It's stupid. You're building him up as like the top mid-card guy. Like, Darby's had his chance. Darby's fine now. You did it. You succeeded with Darby. Darby's great. He's always a top mid-card player. He's also got that if you put him in the right match, it might pop a pay-per-view buy out of me.
Children
you need
cry
Orange
when Darby
Cassidy.
loses.
Yeah, you need Orange Cassidy to be the next one of those, the next undersized guy that can actually go, that knows how to put on an exciting match, that knows how to get fans behind him, but you got to give him the storyline in the program. And it's not Trustbusters. And I don't know if it's with the other Best Friends. It's fine, but they've just invested more time in him right now, and it was working. And I just don't understand why AEW lets certain things cool when they're working. I don't want stuff shoved down my throat like WWE, but I also don't want to de-elevate guys at times like I feel they do. Anyway, I got to talk about this real quick because I was told by a certain performer to watch a certain show this week and that I would be impressed. This performer was correct. I will not say who the person is because they don't want to sound like they're out begging to get people to watch their matches. But this person did ask me to watch their match and to watch this whole show. And I did. And that show was Impact. And I got to tell you, I do this once every month or a couple of months where I tune back into Impact. I'll watch a couple episodes, see what's going on there because there's still some talent that I really like there. There's some things going on. I was impressed. I was very, very impressed with a couple of things. First of all, Black Taurus, Laredo Kid, Ray Horace, and Trey Miguel. Fucking phenomenal. Everything I missed about Lucha Underground came back to me all at once. It was 100% like, oh my God, if these four guys could have been in Lucha Underground, these guys would have been season 6 or 7 of Lucha Underground. 100%. Like, no doubt in my mind. I was seeing the whole thing, even that being in that kind of small room with like a passionate fan base that just cared about the product, but knew the product, could care less about anything else going on in wrestling. Like, they came to support their guys, their thing. Like, Impact finally was having that feeling to me. It was working. And it was a great leadoff match. It's just the storylines, of course, would have been, there was no storyline to it. Yeah. But it was a phenomenal, well, there was a little bit, like Crazy Steve was on the mic and hyping Black Taurus for Decay, which was really smart. They never have, I don't know that they've ever had Crazy Steve do something like that before and sit in on commentary. He was kind of awesome. It worked really well. And he was hyping Taurus the right way. And, you know, Rosemary's off doing some other angle right now. So it kind of kept some heat on Decay and whatever. And now this is for somebody who's just tuning in. Absolutely a match worth watching. Heath from Honor No More defeating Kenny King. Not really a match worth watching. Felt very like everything Impact's done for the last 5 years that I don't care about. And Honor No More is kind of this catch-all giant faction that feels so unthreatening to me for so many reasons. But here was another high spot. I've been hearing tons of great stuff, and I bet Byron has too, about Killer Kelly. And she's now in Impact. I hear that everybody in the locker room likes her. They like how she works. It's stiff and crisp, but everyone's feels pretty safe and protected. The red lights and stuff that they're doing for her at Impact work great. Like, the presentation is actually there, especially for kind of a mid-level promotion. You know, and Impact had success when they did some similar stuff with Scarlett, and Scarlett wasn't even really wrestling like Killer Kelly is. Like, Killer Kelly, they put her in there with Savannah Evans, who's, you know, Savannah has this hoss fight. She's hoss chick. She's not going to do anything spectacular, but she knew how to take the bumps. Her timing was good. and they both made each other look really good. You could tell they were both leading a couple spots, which was fine because I'm sure Kelly was like, I don't know what the fuck you do. So, anyway, and Killer Kelly did the I like getting choked spot, which works better for her than it does for Effie. I don't know. I'll just leave it at that. It was kind of funny though. It worked. It's good stuff. I don't know if you have anything to add about Killer Kelly, but I think she's an up and comer to watch.
No, I mean, I don't have anything specific, except, she's been a solid name. People usually very excited for her, to see her on cards. And I don't think she's really broken through higher than Impact. So it's a good opportunity. And it's cool for the fans that they get to see more of her in a bigger presentation.
Yeah. And Speedball Mike Bailey defeats the ultimate finesse club finesser, Chris Bay, in an absolutely excellent match.
Yeah.
Oh my God. Every good moment you've ever liked about X Division, if you were a fan of X Division wrestling and the heyday from the six-sided ring and the AJ Styles and the Christopher Daniels and the Samoa Joe, like all that era of X Division stuff, get behind this Mike Bailey run as the X Division champ, because all the other boys in that division, including Chris Bay in this match, are given Mike gold to work with. They are out there showing out, making this shit look amazing. And Trey Miguel has had some good stuff going too. Like these guys, dude, if you like this style of cruiserweight wrestling combined with Lucha Libre, combined with extreme wrestling, like Mike Bailey, first of all, is perfect for it. Chris Bay has been great at it. Like he already had the title once, and I'd love to see Chris Bay in their top of the line picture, and maybe with some of this Bullet Club rub that he's getting, maybe he can get there. But also the best thing about Chris Bay now is with his Bullet Club gimmick and him being kind of a heel, like he can lose and it doesn't matter. It's great. He's still freaking fire promos, great presentation. And like, I hate to say it, but like he's one up in the Swerve thing. Like he's doing a little bit of the Swerve gimmick, but he's doing a lot of it better. And they're both my dudes, so I hate to say that to a certain extent, but like, Swerve does his stomp off of Keith Lee's shoulders now. Well, Chris Bay does one like a springboard double jump off the ropes, stomp to a guy on the floor who's hanging off the apron. Like he just one-ups everything that Swerve does. And don't get me wrong, Swerve can't necessarily do that, because if Swerve does that, somebody might get hurt. And like Bay is in a position where he can do some more risky stuff and some cooler shit. But Bay has really, really stepped his game up to be a true like AR Fox level high flyer guy. Mike Bailey's been that dude for the last 5 years. Like we've known Speedball was the shit.
Speedball was like the best wrestler not allowed to wrestle in the country for like the last 10 years.
And look, I don't even want to get into all the Speedball of it. All I can tell you is him as a champ in the X Division. If you like this kind of style, go watch it. The last match was a 6-man title contender for Bound for Glory. It was Eddie Edwards, Moose, Bandito, Rich Swann, Sami Callihan, Macklin, whatever. It was fine. Bandito looks like $1 million. Bandito, people don't understand this about Bandito. He is, I hate to say it this way, but he's like the better version of Eddie Guerrero. He can base and he can also high fly, but like his high flying stuff, I think the sport's just evolved. So his high flying stuff is probably more intricate than Eddie's ever was. But he's able to base and power move the same way that Eddie was. Like he did some strength moves in this match and some basing for other guys that aren't even lucha guys. Bandito's fucking incredible, man. I like, this is the luchador that should be, I don't know, man. Like, look, Laredo Kid's phenomenal too. I like a lot of these guys, but I got to give it up to Impact. Like, if you want to see some of the indie style Lucha Libre that Lucha Underground was presenting, Impact's got it, man. Impact's got it in spades, and people are showing out and not getting hurt, and the crowd's really behind it. The Lucha chants are there now. they won me over. I'm gonna be watching more Impact because I like what was happening there. I like to see Lucha Libre in the context of American indie wrestling. That was what this whole podcast started from in the first place. And I'm happy any week where I get to see a little bit of that. And it was on Impact this week. So if you have it, have it on demand or something, go back and watch it. It's worth it. This past week's Impact is a decent ride, man. And it goes by fast. It's a quick 2 hours. It's not going to hurt your parts. And it was better than Rampage by a long shot. All right. Let's talk business about AEW before I get into the WWE stuff, because I'll get into WWE and stay there and in there.
Mm-hmm.
TV deals are going to be coming up for AEW soon. This is a problem. This is a big problem. Warner Brothers, Discovery Warner was/is very happy with AEW. They still don't know entirely what they're going to do with a lot of their sports programming. My biggest fear for AEW right now is their TV contract is going to come up at just the exact wrong fucking time. They're going to get less money. They're going to get another deal. I don't think Warner Brothers is going to let them leave, and I don't think anybody's going to pay them as good. I think they're going to stay, but this show might be coming off of TNT and TBS altogether. You might see it going to HBO Max or being a streaming thing. But also, that's really being overhauled right now. No one can have any faith in the HBO Max thing with what they're doing over there. They just shit-canned another Batman property that was pretty much done deal that J.J. Abrams was involved in. That was a spinoff of a hit Batman animated series that drew big numbers. But now they're just like, yeah, we're not really going to do animated and family programming on HBO Max. They shit-canned seasons of Sesame Street. They just said, yeah, we don't want to pay the licensing for these 4 old seasons of Sesame Street. Like, your little kids can't see Sesame Street shit now. Like, what the fuck? Like, they're still, don't get me wrong, it's not gone, by the way. It's not canceled. There's still, all the current episodes are still there, but all these episodes that are getting tons of views from the library, they just took a huge chunk of the library and they're like, we're never paying for that again. Fuck it. Here you go, public workshop people, whatever. Ghost of Jim Henson, take your fucking beautiful kids programming that's educated half of this globe and shove it up your ass. Like,
cold.
If you're gonna do that to Kermit the Frog, hi ho, here, this is Kermit the Frog. If you're gonna do that to Kermit the Frog,
that's what all this was for.
No, it wasn't at all. I didn't even know
voice.
I was gonna go in. No, hey, Piggy.
Oh God.
No,
I got some Kermit videos to show you if you're interested.
Look, I know you like a hand up your ass, but let's not talk about that.
Oh, did I show you that one?
Wow, no, I don't want to see that. That's terrible. This is terrible. I was talking about the beloved Sesame Street, and now we're talking about.
You brought up Kermit
things.
Fisting,
listen,
but there is
like, look, if they're, I'm just saying, oh my God, AEW has to be so careful. Like,
yeah,
there are very conflicting things out there about the future of AEW with this TV deal coming up, and it is coming at a bad time, people. That's all I can say. I have dealt personally with the Discovery monster for the better part of the last 10 years. I would say 60 to 70% of my paychecks in the last 10 years have come from some Discovery related things. I've dealt with them. I've had shows shelved. I've had opportunities that disappeared, this, that, or the other things, and whatever. And they're not bad. Don't get me wrong. They're not like some evil company. They just do things in a way that may not be conducive to what Tony Khan needs and the kind of support that you want for your television program. They don't do that all the time. They did it for my Irving versus Taffer show, but that was also right during the merger. So that was good timing. This is not good timing. This is like, God, if Kermit and Batman aren't safe, what makes you think Kenny Omega and CM Punk are? Nothing. Nothing is safe with David Zaslav and Discovery Warner. That's all I want to say about it for now. We'll talk more about it in the business of that business soon, because somebody asked me this week, Byron, why don't we talk about reality TV and stuff where we're experts? Like, why do we podcast about this? Isn't there a cottage industry for reality show podcasting? And the fact of the matter is, we're in positions, especially with a lot of the NDAs and stuff that we've signed, that we can't shit where we eat. Yeah. And it's part of the reason why I think podcasts like this about wrestling still do well, even though every wrestler in the world out there is doing a podcast about wrestling. And the problem is very, very few of them can speak openly about that kind of stuff. I will give Conan credit. He still manages to work and honestly be pretty straightforward about every aspect of the business, even his own product at times. Like, he shit on himself a little bit recently, which I thought was pretty funny and clever. And he's mad. He's pissed because he doesn't have the video package resources that he wants, that he knows, and he bitches about AEW all the time, but he ain't doing it in AAA either. He just doesn't have the money. So he shits on Tony even harder for not doing it, because Tony does, or should not be spending money on CM Punk so that he could do decent video packages. Whatever. Anyway, I don't know, Byron. You got anything to say about AEW's future, their chances with this whole thing? I don't think they're going away. I just think they're probably not going to get the same amount of money. And I think a lot of these contracted guys are going to start going away too.
I'm sure behind the scenes in the boardrooms, in the room where it happens, there's a path that everyone is on, and they know where they are intending to go. But as far as like us in the public, it's going to change week to week. Like, I don't know, a week ago or so, I heard on the radio that the HBO Max and the Discovery app are going to get merged. Like, okay, well, that changes kind of everything for everyone.
They are, but that's why this other stuff's going away.
Yeah, and it's just like
they're clearing room, they're clearing space.
There's a lot going on, but I do.
And Zaslav said that was happening. He said that he's merging the two at the end of 2023.
Yeah, but I thought like a month or so ago, like, or when the merger happened, I thought that it was still up for grabs. But like, he knows what he's doing. But like, we're finding stuff out. But I do think, as far as wrestling goes, as far as like, what's headlining the dirt sheets now, like MJF is coming back soon. AEW is going to have every face that makes them money on their show, in their buildings leading up to that deal. Like, sure, MJF's going to come back. He's going to do something, have a storyline, but like, all of those guys are going to be back, and they're going to be on TV because they have to. Maybe you're going to see Big Show on TV again too. Maybe you're going to see every face that someone in a suit and tie is going to feel comfortable paying for.
Well, and I think this is going to be the tricky part, because AEW now has to ask themselves the Nick Khan question for a completely different reason.
Yeah.
Like, how do we find ourselves in the Discovery, Warner Discovery, whichever way it's what, WDSC or whatever, WWS, Warner Discovery Warner. Anyway, where can we find a world for ourselves in that universe? Because now you're coming from an era where the guys at the top still understood what WCW meant to them and what it did for them and their ad rates and how successful it was. Yeah, it got in some financial trouble towards the end. Like, it didn't end well, but it was a solid earner for them for a long time and didn't cost them a ton to get out of it. So it was fine. It ran its course.
Yeah.
But there was that goodwill towards wrestling because it was a Warner Brothers thing, and TBS and Turner, and like, everybody understood the wrestling of it all. Those people are gone. And, Discovery was very happy with what they were seeing from wrestling, but also they're a very, very frugal company. They do not spend money. Like, you're seeing what's happening right now. They're just looking at stuff and they're like, yeah, no, you can tell us it's a good project all day long. That doesn't make sense. $90 million Batgirl movie that goes straight to our streaming platform, and we can't prove that is actually going to monetize for us in any fashion. And then we can't sell it on direct digital video. We can't put it in theater. Like, no, that doesn't make sense. Just leave that on a shelf and we'll take a tax write-off. No other company would do that. That's just how Discovery works. That's how they think. That's how they do stuff. They are not afraid to pull the plug in the middle of stuff. They've canceled series that have episodes shot, filmed, and ready to air, and just it's like free to them. They won't run it. They're not doing a pickup right now on Food Paradise that has been on for, I don't know, we're on season 19, 20 something. It's free money to them. It's a super cheap show to produce, and it gets the same ad rates as primetime stuff that costs 4 times as much. So literally, there's no reason not to make that show more. They're just slow rolling it. They're probably going to pick it up at some point in time, but it is just a terrible time to be under the Discovery Warner umbrella for any fucking reason.
Oh, one of my that happened. We had some extra help on my show recently because the production company makes different shows for different networks, blah, blah, blah. And so we had some people who were recently freed up. Their availability got freed up recently, even though they were finishing a show that was pretty much done, but it was sports related. It was upcoming, probably a super cool sort of sports reality TV show.
RKO from nowhere.
And our friend was like,
speaking of your shows, Byron, and things that are in your universe, did I skip over the reality Zach Clayton and his big long match against Hobbs?
His against Hook.
Hook, I'm sorry.
Debut. I hit up the work Slack. My boss and I are big wrestling fans, so I hit up the work Slack. And I'm like,
is Zach Clayton still a big wrestling fan? That's the real question.
Well, that was his debut, and he got a promo on a match, so I think he should be happy. It is funny and I'm not going to talk on the show, but it is funny to hear conversations, like stories that are.
Can I just say that I hope that there's a meme circulating in certain places of that?
But I went in the work Slack on Friday. I'm like, is everyone excited for Zach's big championship match today? And then someone is like, why is he fighting a 14-year-old
with a belt that's called "Fuck the World"?
But it's like, that's why the match happened and why it happened the way it did, because Hook is still being introduced and being established, and that is, that's a very important thing. Hook's
I hope to God Taz does not let them fuck up his kid, because it's working.
Yeah.
They just need to leave it alone.
It was so funny because I was working. I didn't watch the show live. And my boss was like, have you seen the match? And I'm like, I haven't. I'm still working or whatever. I'm not watching it live. And then I was going to watch Rampage over the weekend. And I couldn't help it. I opened Instagram and I saw Zach post something about the match. And he looked cool because it's like before the match. And I see a comment, 8 seconds.
So fast.
But it's a show. It's not an athletic competition, and they both did a great job at being put to sleep almost immediately.
Hey, Byron, do you remember the a couple years ago the Roadhouse version of the Ronda Rousey version of the movie Roadhouse?
I
know we've talked about it before, but come on. I just want everyone to think about this for a minute. Just again, for 1 second, I have to bring this up. You filmed a movie.
Yeah.
It's not under the Discovery banner. Everyone is really behind it. They've spent a bunch of money on this movie. They get the whole thing shot. And they're just like, everybody involved is like, nope. Not putting that out. No one's ever seeing that. In fact, we're never talking about that again. Nope. Never happened. Doesn't exist. Ronda Rousey starred in an entire A-list level blockbuster real feature film that was a remake of Roadhouse that no one will ever see. They didn't even bother to do a rough cut. They looked at dailies and they were like, fuck that shit. We will never watch that again. The director was like, I am changing my name. Everybody involved said, can I Alan Smithy this film? Ronda Rousey does not acknowledge that this film was shot.
Yeah.
Okay. And they're remaking it now with Jake Gyllenhaal in the lead and Conor McGregor is in the movie. And apparently
I can't wait till someone's
going well.
Can't wait till someone on WWE TV brings it up. They're doing a lot more
Oh my
shitty stuff.
God. If you want to shoot on Ronda, if you want to shoot on Ronda and get shot on in return, like get physically hurt by a woman, please bring up like, hey Ronda, how'd that Roadhouse thing go? Like, can we see some clips from it or anything? Like, you got any footage lying around? Like, how come that never came out? Like, you want to just get your teeth knocked in?
Yeah.
Say that to Ronda Rousey. Anyway, she wants to be reinstated, blah, blah, blah. SmackDown gets arrested instead. Acting is still better in this role where she's a little truer to herself, but it's still not good. She does this, like the sideways mouth thing. Like,
yeah,
I just don't like. And that's the Ronda that I always disliked. The Ronda that was mean to Laura Sankow backstage is amazing. Go look it up. It was from Elite XC or wherever she was before UFC. It was amazing. I don't know what I am trying to figure out the NXT women's tag team angle thing here. So on SmackDown, Nikita Lyons and Zoe Stark are replaced and are supposedly hurt.
Supposedly,
was that a real thing?
Supposedly, one of them had a shoulder injury or something, and supposedly another one was not vaccinated.
Gotcha.
But also it was denied. But
right.
I don't
so
know.
They couldn't come and wrestle. But so then we get Darby's sister, Darby's girlfriend,
whatever they're doing.
Whatever.
Yeah,
I don't even know if they're still a thing.
But oh no, wait, B Presley is in NXT UK, which is something else now. What's her name? What's
Gigi?
her NXT name? Gigi
Dolan.
Yeah, she got hurt.
Yeah, she took half the name, and he took the other half. They both split up Gigi Allen's name.
Yeah.
So anyway, Gigi Dolan and JC Jane, Toxic Attraction, they defeat Natalya and Sonya. And then what? So Gigi's hurt, or is JC hurt?
Gigi. I got to grab food from my kitchen real quick.
Go grab food. I'm going to keep talking about this.
Yeah.
So anyway, Nikita is out, then poor Gigi's out, and now we're going to have some second chance qualifier, blah, blah, blah match. Like this is the sad things that happen in wrestling every now and then. Like they give the NXT girls a shot. They even put them over in one of the matches. Clearly they wanted to do some kind of thing. And I think Triple H wanted to give some kind of rub to NXT, but it's just not turning out well. And the whole thing is kind of disintegrating. That went to a segment that I loved, was Roman Reigns playing nice with Sami Zayn. And of course they're in Canada this week. He gives Sami the whole IC title would look good in the bloodline thing. And he wants to make sure to send a message. Already putting KO over for Raw, putting KO's name in Roman Reigns' mouth is good for business. What's up? We got Rebecca and James in his house. What y'all doing? What's up, y'all? I thought that it was, hold on, wait. Since Byron's gone, I can do this. Yeah, I can get bigger. And that whole segment with Roman and Sami was, I thought, phenomenal. And helped to put over all the Canada of it without healing Roman out too much, and definitely healing out Sami and KO. And it was B Priestley is NXT now as of tonight, triple threat match with Mandy. Let me see. Oh, okay. That makes sense. So anyway, I just like the segment. I like that Sami Zayn is like, Sami's not getting over anymore. Like they're not like all of a sudden Sami Zayn is some world beater. And I like that. Like Triple H is like, okay, no, you're in this storyline. What my thing for Sami Zayn is that we're actually going to do some logical things with this storyline, but we're not just going to erase it and put him in something different, And even with KO, they're still acknowledging this crazy storyline that he's been in for a long time, but they're changing characters and they're giving them some meat on the bones, which is phenomenal. Then this segment, this is the one we talk about. Nobody else cares about besides me, but I'm going to force you to talk about it with me because no one else will talk to me about it. The other MMM show, the second best MMM show in the world, Maximum Male Models with Maxine Dupree. I don't get how they did this with the Hit Row thing. First of all, I don't know that two budding factions feuding like this. This might be where I don't agree with Triple H on certain things. I don't know that this helps either faction right now. And this feels very NXT, and even some of the stuff that he did in NXT that I didn't like Triple H ain't flawless, y'all. I like leaving, LA Knight, Eli Drake, whatever, in this gimmick for right now. But Dupree, yeah, they are infringing on our gimmick, but it's LA Knight, so he can have M show. He can have.
But we have the part where we're really good looking. We're going to keep that part.
We're the masked male models.
We're going to keep
because we should wear masks. We have faces for radio.
We're going to keep the part of the gimmick where we're really good looking, and they can have the part where it's the name.
Do I bring you back? I like this vibe.
No, you could put me back on the whole thing.
I mean, we could do like this vibe. Maybe this vibe. This vibe's great.
No,
can we do this vibe? That? What does this one do?
Oh, God.
Sorry, I'm just pushing buttons now. Why?
This is the that one's that ESPN talking head thing.
Anyway, so what I noticed during this period of time is there was a solid 20 to 28 minutes of SmackDown with no wrestling. We have a rap concert, which was fine. But I don't mind them doing this gimmick. I like them doing the rap thing. But first of all, the problem is you got to let Maximum Male Models get more heel heat and reintroduce themselves. This is the first time they've been out in the ring as a faction altogether ever. Let Eli do his thing and get some serious heel heat, then have these guys come out and then do the rap segment next week. It was too hot-shotted, too much all at once. We haven't established MMM as the heels yet enough. And that was my issue with this, because I like what Hit Row did, but I thought it was premature because you haven't established the heels enough to get over the faces doing some cool face thing. We need to establish the heels first. We need to make everyone hate the heels first, and then they in turn will make everyone love the baby faces.
What do you think about LA Knight trending every Monday when Max Dupree shows up on TV? Dupree, but LA Knight trends.
And
what do you think about that?
There's a reason. People are trying to say they want H to do the H-branded H things. That's what people want Triple H to do the H things the way that H did them before. But Triple H doesn't want to. Triple H wants to do some things that way, but other things he's fine. And I've noticed a couple other things too that I find very interesting. Cross hasn't gone back to Karrion Kross WWE on his socials. He's still Killer Cross. They're still put out more video packagey, crossy promo type things on his socials. I don't know that he might be making a smart move where he's allowed to kind of keep his social, and they should. If anything, I would let Cross do some of his own promo work purely on his socials. Let him do that, or help him do that even. They were doing that at Impact, and it worked great when they first started the very first version of the Killer Cross gimmick as opposed to Kevin Cross. I hope it keeps going, and I hope it's not just waiting till certain things time out and then he flips the sign on his socials again. I think he should leave it at Real Killer Cross. And I think that every performer out there should keep their socials to their own personal branding, like what Natalia's doing as the Neidhart sisters branding or whatever. And you can get away with more. It's what are they going to tell you? You're a fucking actor on TV. You play a part, but then your socials should be able to be a different extension of you. But also, you can't take the name of the TV show. Keanu Reeves shouldn't be tweeting as Neo or John Wick. He's tweeting as Keanu Reeves.
Mm-hmm.
I think that wrestlers need to start doing that more too. Anyway, speaking of Cross, we get to the Cross and Scarlett chosen on promo. I love that they chose you and they were wrong thing. I like that Cross only got time in a promo this week. It makes you want it more. It makes it seem big time. And I even think they obviously have something planned for right now. We can talk about that a little bit because I think I know basically from what's going on what's probably going to happen. But I would love to see if they're not going to strap him up right now. I would love to see them cool him a little bit and to see him stalk a little bit backstage, where he's at SmackDown or Raw every week, or maybe even mix it up. Like, I know they just kind of did some of this with Dexter Lumis, and we'll talk about that in a second. But I love if they had Cross showing up at all three brands, including NXT, not necessarily putting him back down there, but just had him stalk every now and then, where he just shows up in the back and he's looking for somebody, or he puts an hourglass on somebody. Like, lay out Cross's programs for the next year. Have him go down and put a clock on Braun Breaker. And then when that dude comes up 2 years from now, cash it in. Don't even cash them all in now. Have him drop some teases on some people. Have him go attack some random people. Yeah, and it is. I agree with you, Rebecca. The Dexter vibe is a whole different thing, and I'm about to talk about that in a second. Anyway.
But this would also be more, you're planting seeds down the road. Now you have something for the video package. Now you have history and background.
Right. And why not? I mean, I think that's what the character needs, and you want it to get over. Like, half the fans get the Cross thing, and half of them don't. Like, I'll be realistic. Johnny Gargano is more over than Cross. That was a huge return. People recognized him. You know, some people recognized Cross, and he was good. Like, he popped the crowd, and he's the right guy. But, you know, Index, I got to watch now. James is going to make me fucking watch NXT, you son of a bitch. I already watched Impact this week. I got to watch fucking NXT, and I'm going to AEW tomorrow. You guys all better watch Dynamite and see if you can see me in the front row. It'll be really interesting to see if you see me.
Bring a sign.
Fuck a sign.
Bring a sign.
Fuck a sign. Anyway, I'm going to be incognito. You might not even notice I'm there. The 5-way for the seed title shot. Sammy super over in Montreal. Still just doing clown bumps at first, which was like, but then I love the fact that he got the comeback and everyone's thinking, but dude, I got to say this. I don't know why, but Sheamus was over in that room from the beginning of that match. That place in Montreal loved Sheamus. And I don't know if he's got some history there that I don't know about, but it's going to be, I don't know if it's going to be a better looking version of Where's Waldo game, but it's going to be one. Because I'm just going to be like normal, not mugging, sitting there actually watching the entertainment and whatnot. Anyway, he was just super over. And then Sheamus got the win, which I thought was kind of brilliant. Everyone thinks Sammy's going to get a win and the storyline's going there. I don't know what they do with the storyline. I mean, he took it on the chin for a run at the end in their Drew face off. Anyway, Liv defeats Shotzi. Here's the thing I want to say about Liv Morgan. There's a lot of talk about Morgan. That's perfect. That's what she needs. Liv is great at making others look good. She really is. She's gotten very good in her time as a jobber and learning how to take bumps from other people in their styles. The same thing I said about Ronda Rousey. And if you look at early Shawn Michaels, and I can't believe I'm comparing Liv Morgan to Shawn Michaels, but I'm actually doing it. It's part of why Shawn was over with the boys in the back. It's part of why he worked his way up. I don't think that Shawn's title run was shit. With that first title run, a lot of people speak highly of it now, but I think people forget that those in your house numbers were fucking terrible. He was not a good frontman for the company. Everybody hated him as a pretty boy. Shawn Michaels was not over in that first title run. I don't care what anybody's, not with real wrestling fans. He was over with casuals and some of the ladies and whatever, but people hated him and started tuning out. It wasn't until Undertaker and Brett and came back and a bunch of other shit happened that, and the Attitude Era kind of started. That first Shawn Michaels run wasn't that, guys, but he was really good at taking bumps in people's styles. He was really good at working a match to the other guy's style. I have noticed that Liv Morgan, because she's jobbed out for so long, is great at that too. She made Ronda look good because she worked completely Ronda's style. She made Shotzi look good. People have been complaining about Shotzi for months now. This was probably the best Shotzi we've seen in forever because Liv knew how to take all of her stuff. And she knew how to, and she knows it gives too. We get her shit in now on top of it. Like for her overall presentation as a wrestler, this run is probably the best thing ever for her. Like, I don't know if she'll ever get to the mountaintop again after this, but damn it, the girl really is putting in work. Like, I hope they can stretch her storyline out to make it make sense. Raw. Got to talk about Raw because a few big things happened. First of all, Jeff Jarrett wasn't there. Did Road Dogg get Jeff Jarrett fired?
I don't know.
Here's what I heard. Go, you tell me what you heard, and then I'll tell you what I heard.
What I think happened, was Jeff Jarrett had a plan where there was going to be the changeover, and he was making a bet that he could be in a really great spot at the other
under
side
Nick
of
Khan.
the changeover. Yeah. And I mean, he would be then in theory, all the Triple H guys are, out, all the old guard out, there would be a vacuum. And he is, he would be in position for a high spot, maybe Triple H's spot, maybe like a spot or two below.
Right. And don't forget, guys, Triple H was on the outs for a minute there too. Like, I think Vince rallied the troops and brought the whole family back in, but Triple H was kind of not in a bad way, but definitely he stepped aside purposely because NXT was not going the way that they wanted it to.
Yeah. Well, Triple H and everyone on his team, except for Shawn Michaels, were on the outs. So there's a vacuum. And now Triple H is back and his team is pretty much back, coming back. There, for Jeff Jarrett, I think that the opportunity isn't there for him anymore. And so I don't know if he was necessarily there to run live shows or if he was there to work his way into a really much higher spot. And so now that the carrot's gone, he's going to go money mark another company now.
Maybe. Look, AEW could certainly, and he might even be a better fit over there. I mean, I had predicted under the Nick Khan era that when Vince finally did get bought out, that Jeff Jarrett was going to be sitting real pretty at the top of the ladder.
That's what I thought.
Triple H threw a monkey wrench in that. I thought that maybe there was a world where Triple H and Jeff Jarrett would really see eye to eye and kind of try to run things together. But I think part of the problem, and I don't know, I won't even say problem. I think that one of the reasons they both realized that wasn't going to happen was because Triple H, I don't think, valued Jeff's input in that light. And from everything I understand, Road Dogg was backstage this week already doing exactly most of the stuff that Jeff would do at a weekly show. And I don't think they've officially announced that Road Dogg is senior vice president of live events yet, which was Jeff's title, but there's a vacancy in that position. And they brought back Road Dogg and said that he was going to be in an executive position. And to my knowledge, that's the only open one, unless they create a new one for him. But somebody's got to do that job. And the job's very malleable. It can be creative. It can be whatever, traveling shows, house shows. It can be just promotional. Like, it's a great executive position because it's another one of these titles like Triple H's title, which is, executive VP of talent. Somehow that makes him the head of creative because all the talent falls under him. Like, it doesn't necessarily make sense. They're all just titles. Like, they can be whatever the fuck the company wants. So Though from the way I understand it, Jeff was doing a bunch backstage and was really trying to help the promotion of live events and really looking at if we hit this city, maybe this storyline should go here. We should put this on the card or announce, get this one out ahead of time and hot shot this one at the last minute. Like this one's going to draw a number ahead of time, get us a new t-shirt for this and this, cause we'll sell it in that building. Like Jeff is really into all that shit. We'll see if Road Dogg can do that too. Road Dogg's a smart guy. He's been doing this for a long time. Anyway, I just find I found the whole thing interesting. So that's one big exit and arrival. Mm-hmm. There's a new theme song to Raw. I loved kicking it off with running to action backstage and out front for the Riddle and Seth thing. Like, there's nothing else you could do with that. I don't want to hear those two guys talk yet. Vince would have had those two guys talk in the ring for 20 minutes. Like, what? Seth's going to cackle and Riddle's going to bro? Like, no, it's much hotter. It's a much better feud if these two guys are just in a crazy pull apart. You have the announcers kind of kerfluffled at the beginning. You have some cameras sprinting. Great idea. Totally worked. Trish Stratus did prove that Canadian plastic surgery may in fact be superior to American plastic surgery.
She looked great.
To her. Yeah. And none of it is her. Like, she's had work done, guys, if you didn't know. Trish 3 or 4 major things. But her work looks really good. She looks like a different person. She kind of Kenny Rogers did a little bit, but at the same time, I would be way less mad at plastic surgery in general if it all looked that good. Hers looks great.
Yeah.
Good for her. Her promo was kind of mediocre. Like, you thought that her hometown crowd would pop more. But see, this is one of the problems that WWE has. They wheel out the hometown hero, not realizing that the hometown hero sees the person every time they wheel out the hometown hero.
Yeah.
Trish might pop a crowd better in freaking Jacksonville or Austin, Texas, or, somewhere else, because those people haven't seen Trish in 20 years, Toronto sees her. She's around. She's a local celebrity. She does a bunch of stuff. Like, I don't know that she got as big. I don't think she got the reaction that she wanted to. Yes. And the segment did fall a little flat.
Well, it's because the only exciting thing that would have happened out of it, is if she actually, when she got heat in the segment, was when she took her jacket off. You could see, but also, like, she was about to fight, right? And everyone's like, "Oh, I'm happy to see this," and then she didn't, and
and they never paid it off. Like, if you're going to come out of your jacket, throw a punch or something. But she has had a lot of reconstruction here. I don't think she wants to take even a worked punch. Here's the thing. I know this is going to be
a very paint by numbers segment.
It was. I know this is in super bad, poor taste to bring this up, but I got to tell you, when I saw Trish, the first thing that went into my mind was, what did that poor woman have to do for Vince to get her spot? I cannot help but to think that, and I know that that's a controversial take to a certain extent, but I refuse to believe, from the stories that have come out and the things that I've heard, that there were women getting over the way that Trish was without playing ball with Vince. Like, I feel like Lita was probably put in some uncomfortable situations, but I don't know that she had to deal with Vince directly. I think she just was over enough on her own and popular enough, but Trish got the push. Trish got the rub. And I just wonder, like, I can't help it, but it's like, man, we've heard about a lot of the stuff that Vince has been caught for that people didn't go along with, but how much were people like her forced to go along with? How many stories are we never going to hear from people that aren't going to tell them because they did go along with it? And I have no reason to believe this whatsoever. No rumor mill, no rumor factory. I have no reason to believe that Trish was one of those people that did. I just think back to that specific time when wrestling was the most carny it had ever been. Vince is a newly crowned billionaire. All the boys are making millions for the first time. Wrestling is literally in its heyday, and also treating women like absolute pieces of crap. puppies matches and bra and panties and every girl, like bad stuff is happening at indie shows. I know, like, trust me, guys, I was going to ECW events and WCW events, like the stuff that was happening with rats and this, that, and the other thing, super gross, especially standards. Like, you not. And I just look back to all of the stars from the era, and I'm just like, fuck, what did Vince do? Mm-hmm. And it may have ruined it for me forever. Like, I seriously thought that when I looked at Trish Stratus this week, and I was just like, fuck you, Vince. I bet that poor woman was in a terrible position, and I don't even want to know how she got ahead.
You're talking about what we didn't see. We definitely saw a lot on camera. You know,
well, exactly, and that's what I'm saying. Like, and if you saw that on camera,
like,
if he was willing to push it to those limits on camera, we know a lot of the stuff that he was doing backstage from the people that didn't go along with his shit. What? Like, there, anybody who thinks that there aren't other people that had to do things for Vince to get ahead is crazy, because there's no way he would have put other people in positions. And we know that one female wrestler went along with it and then changed her mind. And then that's how that whole thing even became a story, because she said no after having already done some stuff. Like, how many people just went along with it for maybe years? And I'm sitting there looking at Trish, just wanting her to just say it all. Just tell us all this stuff. But she can't, because it'll make her look terrible, because she'll have to say, yeah, but I went along with it. If that's even the case. And again, I'm not saying that that's actually the case. Yeah. Anyway, so let me move on to some of the more interesting things. Sky and Kai defeat Asuka and Bliss. It's a whatever.
I'm excited about that match. I saw some highlights. It's getting Io Sky and Asuka in the ring is kind of a big deal. They haven't done that in
but they did. But it was a teaser. It was a teaser for it. Like, you got maybe 45 seconds of it. It was fine. There's nothing wrong with it. I'm just saying there's no headline there. It is the match that you think it was. Bayley was on the show way too much again. Not her fault. Yeah. It's a fucking 3-hour show. They got to do something about that. Or, and I think Triple H he's bringing in more talent. That's all you can do, really, is fill up the roster. This particular show, a lot of people couldn't get into the country for one reason or another. I get it. But there was a lot. It was like 5 fucking Bayley segments. It was crazy. Finn defeats Dolph Ziggler.
Hey, I have a question for you.
Yeah.
What's up with the cargo pockets on Bayley's pants? It looked like she was wearing like pants, like that you could put an e-brace or whatever under. But then it looked like she had like army surplus pockets sewn onto them.
Yeah, but that weren't real pockets. I agree with you. I don't know what's up with that, but I'm going to investigate.
Yeah, ask questions.
I'm going to ask questions. Is the problem because Sasha's wardrobe person that used to also bro out Bayley isn't there anymore? Is Sasha's wardrobe person gone?
I thought he was there. I thought also she's coming back. I mean, why wouldn't she?
I don't know. Well, they certainly have an opening in this tag team slot now if they wanted to slide them in. Anyway, Finn defeats Dolph Ziggler. KO defeats Chad Gable. KO super duper over. Like, Bayley defeats Aaliyah. Graves and Saxton were better than the match, by the way. When Graves said, "I will punch you in the throat" to Byron, and then Byron was like, "I wish you would have seen you wrestle." That shit, just like, those two don't ever go at it, and they're finally all being let off the leash a little bit. And I think Jimmy was just kind of like, "The fuck happened right here?" Like, Jimmy, I don't know if Jimmy did that was shoot heat or what was going on, but I like seeing Byron Saxton not just be a fucking gumdrop. Like, let the dude. Yeah, we've been listening to him be the pussified bitch boy for how many years now? Like, to the point where most people don't even know he's there half the time. Like, let the guy have some character. Let him have some gumption. It'd be lovely to see him just smack Corey Graves one time, because Corey Graves was a mediocre ass wrestler in my opinion.
Yeah,
he had some moments.
Of him as a wrestler.
He had some moments, but I wasn't either. I like him way better now.
To tie this into, definitely way better now, but to tie it into the beginning to bookend this, he always, to me, came off as a second-rate CM Punk.
Absolutely. He always was trying to be. And he still is to a certain extent. He just gets more mic time. And just like you think mic is important. Well, yeah. Actually, it does. If you can work that microphone as good as it's money in the bank, man. Just like, Mox says the titles don't matter. Guess what? No, they do. You get more money. You put asses in seats better. It helps your brand. The titles actually do matter, bro. Sorry.
Yeah.
Anyway. And having two of them doesn't hurt either. Anyway, what else happened? Okay, so we get to the AJ Styles versus Bobby Lashley and Machampa. Miz and Ciampa. Those guys. KO was a great moment for KO. I don't have anything to say about it other than it was great. It was exactly the entertainment you expected, and you actually got it instead of something stupid. Though I kind of gotta say I miss Vince a little bit because I like the whole like babyface losing it to their hometown crowd thing. Like if somehow KO had lost at the end of that, I would have just thought that was hilariously awesome. And then you let him get his heat back or whatever, but that would have been fucking great. Vince would have totally done that. Vince did that 9 out of 10 times. You come to your hometown or it's your birthday, you fucking lose. I don't know why he was so sick and twisted that way, but he was.
Yeah.
So anyway, the match, whatever, blah, blah, blah. AJ gets attacked by some rando on the other side. And you think that's the angle because it's all the Dexter Lumis stuff, which we now know is Dexter Lumis. And we know it's a work, not a shoot. Has been during AJ things. So you figure it's working up to an AJ thing. And I don't know where this is going now because, yeah, you have the fake one or, the guy gets unmasked and it's not Lumis. And then you're just like, the fuck? But then, of course, 30 seconds later in the police who's guarding the rail is Dexter Lumis. He pops up, but he kidnaps the fuck out of the Miz. Nobody saw that coming. Everyone's like, what? The Miz? Why are you dragging the Miz off? And now clearly we know it's a work and now we know it's an angle, but also kudos because now we have no idea where the fuck this is going. Why is Dexter Lumis kidnapping the Miz when he's been clearly trying to fuck with AJ Styles matches? Is that fucking with AJ? And then I love that the bell rings, the ref tries to call it off, and I don't know if somebody missed it or like they weren't supposed to call off the match and there was still supposed to be a finish. But AJ and Lashley both got in the ring and they were just like, oh, I don't know or care what's actually happening right now. We're doing a fucking finish. I don't know if it was scripted that way. They went into business for themselves, but them just squashing out Ciampa some more was fucking great. I loved that whole thing. And I like this Dexter Lumis story. I have no idea where it's going. Like to see the guy wrestle again, or at least draw a picture, do some of the stuff that he's really good at in life. But I'm fine with this for now. It's fun. What does this say?
Yeah.
Read that to me.
The Mercy kidnapping. He's doing a mission. He's doing a Mercy kidnapping. Is what Rebecca says. That's funny.
Gotcha.
She doesn't like Ohio people. I don't blame her.
I mean, look, you like this Ohio guy. Why couldn't we get Johnny Gargano back in Cleveland? We heard that Johnny's known he's coming back now for a couple of weeks. Which means a couple of weeks ago they were in Cleveland. They could have wheeled out Johnny Gargano. Anyway, no, this was great. And I can't. Yeah. The crowd was more hot for him than KO, Trish, or any of the other Canadians, which is amazing. Here's a guy who, was an NXT star that basically was never going to go past that in the old regime. Like he really had he's done everything. Johnny wrestling. Also, I like that they put him right in there with Theory. The whole back and forth was perfectly done and true. Was like, yeah, buddy, since you left, I basically did all the shit you've dreamed about your whole life. Funny how that works. Like I was your butt boy, and then you left and I did all the Vince things, and now I'm the shit and you're still Johnny wrestling. That was brilliant. Like there's no better way to get heat for Austin Theory than having him tell the truth. And it makes sense too of like Austin Theory is the perfect representation of everything that's held back Johnny Gargano. And also they are friends and they will wrestle great together. So it's a perfect feud. I feel a little bit bad for Austin Theory because I think it raises Gargano's stock and lowers Theory's, being realistic. But dude, the pop moment, that was the biggest moment in wrestling this week. WWE in this week where CM Punk drops all kinds of pipe bombs, gets all sorts of internet news, does all this stuff where you have the best Lucha Libre matches going on in Impact, all the great things they're doing there. You know, you had the 2 out of 3 falls match that, you know, I know those guys want to be the technical match of the year, but probably isn't. You have all this great stuff. It's another amazing week in wrestling. Jeff Jarrett leaves, you know, Road Dogg comes back, all shit going on. Johnny Gargano, of all people, we knew he was probably going to come back or show up at one of the two, like, and we knew it would be a moment. I just had no idea in my mind the moment would be that.
Yeah.
That Johnny Gargano would come off in the same week that Kenny Omega came back, by the way. Johnny Gargano is a bigger deal. I think this is a bigger deal than CM Punk coming back. This is a bigger deal than Cross showing up.
It's such a surprise.
Why. It's not that much of a surprise.
The implications are much broader, I think. And I think it is a surprise that he came back. Even though there's been so many rumors, Triple H wants him back. Johnny Gargano can come back, and Shawn Michaels was being sent specifically to try and convince him to come back. But it's just, I don't know, a few months ago.
You know who wasn't being sent anywhere to convince? Sanjay Dutt wasn't going to his house to convince him to come to AEW. That was a problem because he would have gone. From
what you can read, Gargano was interested in AEW, and he has a bunch of his old like PWG friends there, especially like who doesn't want to go wrestle? Who doesn't want to go wrestle Kenny? And also you look at the whole Vince Nick Khan thing, and it's like, well, he would have like his NXT type spot or respect as a performer in AEW or anywhere else, as opposed to on Raw or SmackDown.
But honestly, look, he's going to be much bigger in WWE than he would have ever been in AEW.
This is exactly what needed to happen for both companies. Like, it makes sense that AEW did not make a play for him because they filled their plate. And there really wasn't a spot for Gargano, as much of an asset as he is to anywhere. They have the spots filled for what they would probably need to pay him. They want to be able to get. There's already a.
But here's the thing. I think WWE with bringing Gargano back is putting AEW on blast now, because I think part of what Triple H is saying is like, look, remember when you kind of beat NXT before? Well, that version of NXT is going to beat you in the end, because now I can do the stuff that you're doing. I can still have the indie cred, the darling cred, do it bigger and better, give those guys that the people champion a shot to live out their dreams, because they all wanted to be WWE champion. You can't go to Orange Cassidy right now and say, hey, Orange, if you could wrestle for the WWE title at WrestleMania next year, or you could stay in the mid-card at AEW and be everyone's favorite, which one would you want to do? Just like why Freddie couldn't keep Cross for promotion and knew it. Like, can't tell Kevin Cross, hey, bro, be the king of the indies is the better thing. Like, and as much as Cross always said that, yeah, Lucha Underground would be the place that has my heart, Lucha Underground didn't do shit for Cross except get us. You know what I mean? Like, the fact of the matter is, and his loyalty was still there, but at the end of the day, no, man, his loyalty should be to exactly where he is right now. He's in a freaking top level program with Drew McIntyre and Roman Reigns. Yeah, that's the dream, guys. That's the dream.
Yeah, and I think Gargano, Johnny Wrestling as well, he is a WWE product, NXT, but he is a WWE product. He all the fans know him. He has shaped his character and his style and his skill set and everything that he does to that type of presentation. And it makes all the sense in the world. The best option for him was to do his thing on Raw and SmackDown. And now that he can, even if AEW wanted to make a play, they I don't think for someone like him, for a star of his caliber, I don't think they can give him what WWE can. Now that he can do his thing, now that it's not, the rumors of Gargano and Adam Cole coming up to the main show and being managers, like now that he could come up and still be a wrestler and an entertainer.
Right.
But
also he showed that he could cut a promo too, because sometimes his promos were weak sauce in NXT. But it's a different flavor of promo up on the big show. But this was it. He nailed it.
But he could do, but like he showed, like he was in NXT so long that he ran out of stuff to do as a wrestler. And so he did other things, like when he was hurt, he was a producer and he learned. Right. And so like that also makes sense, like for your career.
Look, the guy is here to stay. Like he's gonna walk from here all the way into the Hall of Fame.
He had a faction. He was doing the John Cena of NXT thing, where you come out, do a promo, and you carry large segments that aren't even wrestling matches that get other people over, that carry other people into the show. Yeah. And it's just he could do every.
The only thing he didn't have was Austin Theory's physique. That's all he doesn't have.
His height.
And honestly, putting him in the program with Austin Theory is great. The whole thing is great. Johnny Wrestling and Baby Wrestling absolutely win the week. Like that chant, the fact that Toronto even gave him that, like he's not your guy, but apparently he's everyone's guy. Johnny Wrestling, Johnny Gargano, Cleveland Boy is the thing that wrestling was missing. And he might be the thing that really puts the nail in AEW's coffin. Because honest to God, you've got Johnny Gargano over there and you start building stuff around him. That is now a whole segment of your show that will appeal to the AEW crowd.
Yeah. And then what do you have?
And if WWE starts doing that all better and starts bringing in a couple of other guys and some other indie darlings and people that are like this.
They already have them.
I know they have a bunch of them, and I think they're going to bring in more. I think they're going to. I think Triple H is going to bring in a couple of these other guys once their contracts are up at AEW, or some other ones that make sense that are out there or up and coming.
Yeah,
he's going to get a few more, and he's going to build a thing around it. And I think that thing is going to illustrate that you don't need AEW. Doesn't mean that you can't have AEW. Doesn't mean that AEW won't still be there. But I think it's going to push AEW back further and further, and I don't want to see that happen necessarily. I'd rather see AEW also get better, but Triple H has a clearly winning strategy. He's going to keep some things around. He's not getting rid of all the Vince stuff. I think you can't. I don't want him to. Every now and then bring in a big guy who turns over a truck. Like the Brock and Roman match at SummerSlam was great, and that was pure Vince. Even though it was Triple A doing that one, like turning over a ring with a bulldozer is 100% of Vinceism. Like you still need those things. You need it to be big, dumb wrestling. You need some Saturday morning cartoon aspect to it, but also give us Johnny Wrestling in the show.
Yeah.
Give Cody his babyface run at the top, but then also let's maybe have Johnny Wrestling take it off of him. Like there's so many possibilities. Let's have a Killer Cross instead of a Drew McIntyre and a Bobby Lashley. Let's do all these things. Yeah, and I feel like this is correct, Rebecca. I think this is where we're going to end up. AEW is going to go backwards and start to feel more like TNA. When it was good, it was exciting. You were getting those great X Division things. They were making superstars. There was stuff to watch there. It wasn't bad, but also it was clearly not the top dog. And I think that WWE, as terrible as they've been for a few years now, is going to be in a position where they can now make good television, follow enough of the Nick Khan plan to make more money, get better TV deals while AEW is getting stuck getting worse TV deals, create big new stars because they need new stars to replace Roman that are on the same level. They haven't done it yet. And as much as I love a lot of these guys, one of them is going to have to step up. And I hope they still try with Cody. But even Cody, I don't know how long he could sustain it anyway. And I think Cody's only going to have 2 big runs on the top, 3 at most. Like Roman, they got how many out of? Like they need another Roman. They need another Rock, another Steve Austin, like those Cena, those guys. Randy coming back. Maybe he's got another big one in him.
Who knows what Cody's even going to do now?
I don't know, man. This does not bode, all of this goodness at WWE does not bode well for Cody. But
yeah,
from everything I've heard, regardless of Triple H changing creative and doing certain things, Nick Khan is still saying, don't forget that Vince McMahon still owns more than most of the company. Nick Khan's job is still to get Vince McMahon his money.
Yeah.
Don't anyone doubt that. He's not stopping Triple H because Triple H isn't interfering with his plan to do that yet. And Triple H might give him something good to go on. And Triple H is also a strong personality and he's going to fight for what he believes in. But Nick is going to tell him at the end of the day, okay, that's fine. If you believe in this and that, a person, that's totally fine. And we can do this and that. But can we cut some money over here? Can we do this? Can we put this person on a part-time contract? Can we do this for the marketing people? Can we get this product over here and here and here? And Triple H is going to go along with that stuff. They're still all working together. And Steph is there to drive the business and make sure that things actually run and to be the voice of power. That's what's going on over there. That's what's going to stay going on over there. No, I don't know if I agree with this. I think Damian has bigger upside than I ever imagined, but his knees are garbage. That's his biggest problem, believe it or not. He's got really, really funky knees. Nice dude. Apparently he works really hard. But the negative side that I've heard about him, and this goes all the way back to the PC, and I'm surprised Vince pushed him as hard as he did. He was cheap, though. He was cheaper than Cross, by the way, which is part of why he stayed. His knees are garbage, and they're only going to get worse. So I just don't think you can put a guy like that too far on top. Like, I think he'll have some good mid-card runs. Clearly, I think what they're doing with Damian is they're going to run him into the ground. They're going to do what they've done with Jinder and other people. They're going to give him a nice, strong push. They don't have anything against the guy, but they're going to use him up and throw him away. Just is what it is. It's 30% of the business. You got to do that to guys. I mean, AEW even did it to Lance Archer. Like,
Lance Archer had a great G1 run, by the way.
Yeah, I mean, and look.
So we'll see.
But Damian Priest is kind of the equivalent of a guy who easily could be on top. You could totally make something out of him, but also you can just push him when you need to, use him up, get good stuff out of him, and then move on to the next guy. I don't see Damian really being a long-lasting one for them. Maybe he sticks around, you know. And again, like Jinder comes back and forth every now and then. You see, like, I'm still like, he still works for the company? Where's this guy been? Finn, I think Finn has something good coming. You give Finn a year, Triple H will get his storyline worked out. I believe Triple H wants to tell that storyline, but sadly, when he took over the Judgment Day, things already going. I think they got to let that play out. Let Edge do his thing first. Finn's going to have a big babyface run up on top, doing the demon gimmick that Triple H and him wanted to do before, where he keeps bringing out the demon to win and whatnot. Give it a year or two. They'll fade into it. They'll need a big star up on top out of nowhere, especially in the fall, probably fall 2023. It'll happen. That's my prediction. Anyway, I got to go. I got to go to AEW tomorrow. I need to get some rest. I got some work to finish. You got some work to finish. This show has been great. Thank you to all the hundreds and hundreds of people listening, and I can actually say that and not be telling a joke. The shows have been doing very, very well recently. I think I know why. I think this one won't do as well as the last two did, but I will still do decent. So thank you guys all for stopping by. And just remember, until next time. Can I do it in that voice, Byron?
Yeah, I don't know if you can. You could try.
Well, should I do it in Kermit's voice? No,
I'm going to send you a link to a performance art video about Kermit. It's going to change your life, not for the better.
No. Until next time, stay calm, stay in the mix.